Hello and welcome to our lucky episode 13 of Your Average Critics. This is going to be our podcast special on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So of the 15 films that have been released so far, we're going to rank them all and discuss our favourites, our least favourites. I know there's going to be some hot debate, especially around Captain America 1.
You're gonna fuck.
Me and Obi are going to fall out. We're also going to talk about the Marvel film TV shows that are on Netflix.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we can discuss them.
Cool. I didn't know we were talking about them. Alright, cool.
And then, but first of all, we're going to start off with our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, needless to say, there are going to be spoilers for all films, all TV shows associated with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But by the time this is released, it should have been out for at least a week or so. So hopefully you've had a chance to listen to it and watch it. If you haven't, then watch
Go
it
see
and
it.
then come and revisit this podcast. But without further ado, I'm joined by Chris, Ollie and Obi.
Hello.
And we all watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so we can all talk about it.
Joe's dead.
Yeah, I think Joe's dead. But Joe's like Peter Quill's father, isn't he? Absent for 34 years and then comes out the woodwork. So let's talk about that then.
Alright. Quick synopsis. Should we give a quick synopsis of the
Obes, give us a quick synopsis, mate.
Okay, so I think the Guardians are, being paid to protect stuff. I think it starts with them protecting batteries or something from some big alien. They fight the alien. Groot's there being cute and whatnot, and they beat the alien. They get thanked by these gold people. What are the gold people called?
She's like the princess something, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's
but-
like some high court princess.
These gold people, who I find really annoying, but anyway. So they get paid by them, they leave. We find out Rocket stole awful English, stole something from them. And as they're driving away in their spaceship, they get bombarded by the gold people in their ships and whatnot. They manage to fight them off. They crash land on some planet.
My God, you're actually just describing the whole film.
Yeah, I'm going through it.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to do like a brief
synopsis.
overview. It's like,
Basically,
so...
Rocket steals something, they go after Rocket, they find Peter Quill's dad.
That's literally what I was
No,
about
I
to
wasn't
say.
saying that. I thought you were just going to do like a really broad range of, okay, so the film is about this. I didn't realise you were going to do the whole film.
I was literally just going to go through the
Scene by
main
scene.
points of the film. But whatever.
on, mate,
They
go
crash
on.
down the planet. They find Peter Quill's dad. They go to Peter Quill's dad's planet whilst Rocket and all them lot do some other stuff. Chaos ensues. Film fucking ends. I'll cut it there because you lot fucking having a go at me. All right. Oh, jeez.
So the main point is about Peter Quill and his father, and then there's a subplot about Yondu and his scavengers, and then Nebula and Gamora. So I think
I feel really bad for Obi now.
Yeah. So you should. Fucking arsehole.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but Ollie brought it up, so I just jumped on the bandwagon.
so on an overall level, what did you guys think of the film?
I really enjoyed it personally. I thought it was really good.
I
Really
thought-
funny. Good bit of action.
Yeah, I agree.
Groot was cute. It's good stuff.
I thought it was good. I didn't think it as good as the first one.
Okay.
I thought they tried to make it really funny, which they did. It was funny. But
Is that not
as
what
the,
you want to say?
as the plot goes, I didn't think it was the greatest plot or the greatest villain, but it was a good film.
Okay. And I thought it was good. I
Oh, you seem like you're straining saying that,
certainly
mate.
didn't
Jeez.
think. It'd be interesting where we put this in our rankings, and we're not going to talk about that.
I'm claiming that you're going for 12
But,
for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
It was not as good as the first one. I think my problem with it is they basically looked at the first one and said, what did people like about it? Oh, Groot, Drax's laugh, and the visual comedy. Okay, so let's just pump that up by a million. And then, like you said, the villain wasn't very good. I think it was too sentimental. So that every character, you find out a bit about family and stuff. And it's just too... Like, there was just too much of it. So, like, obviously you got Peter and his dad, then you've got Gamora and Nebula, then you've got Rocket and Yondu even have a little sort of thing, and then I was just like, it's just too much.
Really full.
Apparently the ending was meant to be it was meant to be really sad, but they cut that.
What was going to be sad
I
about
thought
it?
it was quite
thought it
sad.
was quite sad,
No,
yeah.
but I don't know how they were going to make it really... It was like meant to be really like, morbid, sad.
Fair
Like,
Okay, so
James Gunn
spoilers,
cut it.
what ending you on about, Chris?
So, I don't know what part of the ending they're saying. I don't know if they mean like someone would die when they were going against Ego, the living planet, or whether when Yondu gets sent out to space, the scavengers didn't come. I don't know if they were one of those two things was a sad ending, but I mean the ending. You're right. The ending was sad. Like Yondu gets pushed out. They do all the fireworks things, and then the thousands of scavengers come along and
See him off.
which was quite teary. Sort of made me cry a little bit.
It's not a nice way to end a film, really.
Yeah.
Like such a happy-go-lucky film, and then it's like a bit of a.
I quite like
low
it
blow.
when they were all doing the obviously all the different. Well, there was like 3 of them, different scavenger ships. Like said their piece, and they did the little like chest bump a couple times.
Yeah.
And the guy, his mate who helped him out, was like, "Yeah!" That bumped his chest.
What were they part of? The Nova Corp.
No, they're the original. So Sylvester Stallone's character,
Yeah.
he's the original Guardians.
Is he?
Yeah, so from the 70s, that's what one of the post-credit scenes was about. Look it up on the interweb.
So he wasn't part of the Nova Corps.
Don't think so. You can validate that.
Boom.
Pretty
Glenn
neat.
just dropped some knowledge right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be vindicated just like I was about. Actually, I'm not even gonna say it.
No.
I was gonna mention the DC film, and I was like, I can't do that in this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoa, almost.
Copyright and all that.
Almost like spoiled the MCU podcast. But yeah, like you said, the family bit was just too much for me. Like, fair enough, if it's like Peter and his dad, yeah, I could possibly have another subplot about family, but in every single character, even Mantis and Drax, it was just like you spent like, I get character development and I like character development, but when it's all so repetitive, I was like, nah. And I feel like, so this film I think was a lot funnier than the first one, but I feel like they had to do that to compensate for all of the sentimental bullshit.
He is part
that
of the
they
Nova
had.
Corps. He's a Nova Corps member.
Alright, but they're also part of the original Guardians, supposedly. That's who they're in the post-credits scene.
But he didn't say his name.
Don't know. That's what
How do you know he's part of the original Guardians of the Galaxy if it didn't say his name?
Well, I read an article. If you read the what the post-credits scenes are about.
Read Wikipedia, didn't he?
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta believe everything you read.
Anyway, we digress. Ollie, what did you like about the film?
What did I
And
like?
what did you like?
Okay,
Main
so
things.
I mentioned this to you guys after we saw it, but I actually found it so much easier to understand because at the end of the first one, I was like, what? Why is this guy suddenly he can hold this stone that everyone else dies from? That gets explained in the second movie, so that made sense for me.
Didn't it also get explained at the end of the first movie?
Do you want to tell us what you're referring to?
Very briefly, didn't it?
Yeah, no, because didn't the woman say that he was part something, part something
Different
else?
genealogy.
Yeah, but I suppose you're right because the dad explains it in quite a lot of
in
depth,
a bit more
doesn't he?
detail.
Yeah.
What didn't you like about it?
What didn't I like about it? I don't know. I think these sort of films, their fight scenes are always way too over dramatic, and they just like last for what seems like eternity.
Yeah. It's a bit Man of Steel-y.
Exactly
That's
that.
fair.
Yeah.
But well, me personally, I think I like the sentimental stuff because unlike Glenn, I have a heart. So I don't mind sentimental stuff. I think I agree with you in that the bit with Rocket and Yondu. That was a bit forced. I think.
Yeah.
I don't really think that was really a thing that needed to be.
Can't really relate to a raccoon, can you?
Yeah, but apart from that, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really funny. Drax was just pretty much all his lines were hilarious. Basically, when he kept calling Mantis ugly, I was cracking up. I thought it was
disgusting!
And he was like, I'm trying not to vomit at the sight of you.
And then they were like, Mantis is saying about, some planet's beautiful, and he was like, so are you. On the inside.
Yeah, it was kind of like a flip at the end though, wasn't it? Because it in the end you kind of feel like he was falling in love with her.
I don't think so.
At the end he said, you're beautiful, and then he said, on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel like there's going to be some kind of relationship there.
Maybe, maybe. But yeah, I already liked it. What didn't I like?
What did you think of the fight between Gamora and her sister?
I thought it was alright.
Yeah? Did you like the fact that they became mutual buddies for a bit because she just wanted someone to be there for her?
Yeah, I think that was probably the family bit that I liked the most.
Yeah. I can understand. I
And
can
then,
understand it.
Nebula's going off to go and fuck up Thanos.
I tell you what I really liked actually was when so obviously spoiler but whatever, when when Peter's dad reveals to him that he gave his mum brain cancer,
Yes.
and straight away Peter, like without any reaction, was like bang, just started shooting him.
Yeah,
like,
that was
pure
rude.
pure emotion and rage.
That was really good.
I really like that.
Do you know, I didn't see that coming.
Neither-
I did.
Did you?
Neither did I.
Like when he started talking about it, and he was talking about how he'd like been with all these other women. I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow, he's done something here. He's done something bad.
Mm.
But do you think Peter Quill's gonna have that celestial ability? I know it's
No, he doesn't.
no, but do you think he'll have it like in some part somewhere else down the line?
I think maybe it might be like
Maybe.
dormant inside him.
Maybe.
So,
I think one of the-
sorry, a bit of context here, listeners. Like, so Peter Quill's dad is called Ego, which is quite an on-the-nose name.
Yeah.
But he is basically a celestial, which is like some sort of. He's not a god, but he's pretty powerful, and he's created this planet. Which
Well, he is the planet.
he is the planet, and it feeds him, and he needs another celestial to
Turn every
basically
other
take
planet.
over the universe.
Yeah.
And he's been fathering all these children on different planets, but none of them have been capable enough to hold his power. And then Peter Quill can, and then so he's trying to use his energy, and then he reveals that he killed his mum effectively. So then, yeah, Peter started prepping.
I got two things quickly I want to mention. So the first thing, one thing I didn't like, the bit where you know where Ego's, he's just like a skeleton,
Yeah.
and he's slowly regenerating to. I thought that bit was like, it just looked really shit.
Do
Like,
you know what? One of the things, so the CGI in this film, I thought was actually quite bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it wasn't actually, was it? It wasn't good at all.
It just
No.
looked really shit, really like really cartoony.
But maybe they did that on purpose. I don't know. I feel like
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, it doesn't matter. Carry on.
it does. It does.
What I
I'll
want to
let
know
you
is,
know.
so it reveals that he's had multiple children, none of them could handle his power. I kind of wanted that to be explored a bit more. Like, it was just kind of like a fleeting reference. You see some skeletons and some skulls.
I don't get. So sorry. I know you guys were just saying that he reveals to Peter that he gave his mum the brain tumor, but why did he do that?
Because he was falling in love with her,
Yeah.
and he was to stop. He was doing.
Why did he tell Peter? He could have just.
He can.
Yeah, but he surely must have thought, oh, he's probably not going to take this well, right?
Yeah.
If he had not said that, never would have known. Probably
Yeah,
would
'cause
have
Peter
ended.
was game for it, wasn't he? Yeah.
Would have ended right there.
That's true.
Poor move from Ego there.
Unless,
Poor move.
unless of course, when he connects with his father on the celestial level, he knows everything that his father knows, and then he would eventually just find out anyway.
Maybe.
Potential.
Or maybe he was
Maybe
just,
he didn't care.
or maybe he was, maybe he was just saying it
Maybe he
because
didn't
he's quite heartless. He's the guy that's saying, well, everything
he's-
should be everything should be like me,
Yeah.
and I need to take over everything. So then there should be nothing in our
Because
way.
he's planning to destroy like the whole galaxy, so I doubt he cares much about his son's feelings.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have worked better as a plot point if one of the other characters had found out and then told him. So like, rather than
mother.
Ego saying, "Oh yeah, I put that tumor in your mum," if like
To be
Gamora
fair,
had
though, how
found
the
out-
hell are you gonna find that out?
well, because Mantis can basically, when she touches him, she can probably feel some of his feelings.
Can I just say that bit when Mantis touches Drax the Destroyer, and she's obviously seeing when his children are alive or just being killed.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that she had seen that Gamora had killed his children.
Is that what happens in the comics?
I don't know because he says that Thanos kills him, but wasn't Gamora
And
Than-
Nebula, yeah.
and Nebula Thanos' children who would do his dirty work for him? So I genuinely
plot
thought
twist for the
I
next
genuinely
film,
thought
maybe.
that was that there because when Gamora came out,
That's
Mantis
the plot
stopped.
That's
Didn't
a plot
she?
for Infinity War.
Yeah, mate. Well,
Mapes.
maybe.
Heard it here from Chris Carey first.
Just want to mention that we did have a little Google, whilst Starhawk or Stackar Ogord, which is Sylvester Stallone's character, is part of the Nova Corps,
He is
they are
correct.
also part of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. That's one of the post-credit scenes with Martin X, Charlie 27, Alita, Nyondu, and Mainframe,
Do you think?
who was voiced by Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Did not get that.
Fair enough.
Do you think they will make a spin-off with them?
It seems like it. It
yeah.
seems like they were gearing up. For
What are they going to name it though? Nova Corps.
Maybe.
And then when they're going to bring the superhero Nova in?
Is that was the one from the first one, wasn't it? Glenn Close's character. She was Nova Prime, wasn't she?
Huh?
Do you not remember?
No, obviously not.
Okay.
What are you
fair
talking
enough.
about? Eh?
Nova
Who?
Prime. So when they in the first film, you know, you had like John C. Reilly's character in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film.
He's the one who catches Peter.
They're like the police,
All right.
and then there's that woman with the big white hair, and she's Nova Prime.
She's Nova Prime. Jesus.
Pretty sure. Anyway, Chris will Google that. I want to ask you guys, so we're talking about Yondu's death and how it's quite poignant, I guess.
Mm.
But was it like? Because for me, like obviously Yondu sacrifices himself, and it's like, oh, you know, I was the father of you and my father all along.
Mm.
Again, I don't remember much between the two of them to suggest any sort of familial bond, and it's just kind of like we've had no.
It's like
scenes of them together.
I know what you mean, but it was like a love-hate thing. Like Peter hated Yondu, but he was kind of all he had growing up. So it's like obviously he's being a surrogate father and all that. So like,
but there weren't enough scenes of them together
But
for
you
us
still-
to have that
Fair enough.
that understanding of
I
their
got- I got-
relationship.
I
for
got
to
it.
be
I-
Yeah,
set.
but
So
I got
he's
it.
not your father. He's your father,
He's
but he's
my-
not your dad.
Yeah, but he ain't your dad.
But it's kind of that thing
I
about
love
like
his
in real life, like if someone adopts a child, is the person who conceived them their father, or is the person who's looking after them their life their father?
No, I'm not disputing
And
the fact that
Father, he's not
Also,
the daddy.
and also when you find out that that Ego is basically this guy who just wants to use his son to become a celestial or take over the world, you kind of get the feeling that you know that Yondu's doing it to protect him, that he's kept him like this. But
Yeah.
obviously he can't be the father that everyone expects him to be, because he's got to be this hard guy who just wants to steal stuff and beat up people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that's why you can't get that proper father figure. But then you also get the references, like he's saying about how he used to play Peter's music in the spaceship and how he would like send Peter to do these things on his own, and that's why the other guy got really annoyed with him. What?
Oh, does it? Because he said about the music.
Yeah.
When Peter's fighting his dad, he's like, "You shouldn't have killed my mum and squished my Walkman." He puts him on the same pedestal. So, carry on.
what did you think of the music in this film then?
Not as good as the first one,
No.
but still alright.
Awesome Mixtape Volume 2 is not as good as Awesome Mixtape Volume 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, fair enough. But that's one of the big selling points of this film, isn't it, in terms of marketing, is the soundtrack. Alright, anything else that you guys want to say about...
I want to talk about the post credits.
Yes,
So
yeah, let's do that then.
Quickly, I thought they were all shit.
So there are 5 of them.
I can't remember all of them.
Yeah, so we get Groot is older, so that's
Teenage Groot.
we're looking at the next movie. Groot is not Baby Groot anymore.
That's pretty
So-
cool. I like that.
So between Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Avengers Infinity War, there's 4
4
years.
years. Yep.
So he might actually be fully grown Groot by then, or he could still be teenage
Did you
Groot.
also notice in that post-credit scene, because you know none of them can understand Groot besides Rocket,
But then
but
Peter...
No,
this
they
one
can.
Peter Quill
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that to it. That's a bit of easier communication between the Guardians.
Also, a bit of trivia. James Gunn, who wrote the film and directed it, he gave Vin Diesel a version translated of what Groot actually says. So Vin Diesel essentially gets paid millions of dollars to go, "I am Groot." But then James Gunn wrote what the translation of each line would be.
So he says it in a different way.
Yeah. So
I can't believe he was actually Groot in this one, and it's like
Yeah.
it's Baby Groot. Anyone could
he
have done
doesn't
that.
even do the mocap.
So it'll be
James Gunn's
What do you
cousin does the mocap.
Oh
for it.
right, yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So that was that was one of the 5. What were the other 4?
Well, I mean, the others were just like little snippets. So we had one with Stan Lee, which was a bit,
Lame.
cliche, so rubbish.
I think that's to hone in on what you were saying earlier before the podcast, that he's the watcher.
He's a watcher. So essentially, every cameo he's had in all of the films, he's the same character in each one, but he's observing all of the characters, and he observes everything that goes on in the universe, which is quite a...
Stan Lee should be his
Cool.
own superhero.
That'd be awesome.
What's the other one? You got the one where the guy's playing with the bow.
No, so the last one that I just wanted to say was, so the very ending was that the gold people from the very beginning have created some super life form that, I guess because they want revenge against the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that gets revealed to us. But who was it?
Adam, and we assume it's Adam Warlock, who is a villain or superhero in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, because I thought he was a hero.
So did I.
But maybe he's going to be one of these characters that starts off as a villain and
Yeah.
becomes a hero.
I got to
guess-
say that was a really lame way to say, oh, she's created this awesome being. I'm going to call you Adam.
yeah.
Adam and Eve, innit?
It's like
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that, but I was like, come on,
It's
like
like if you have a-
anything.
It's if you have a baby and you call it Ian. Like, oh, it's baby Ian.
Or Keith.
Oh, Keith. Baby Keith. Yeah, so that's Adam Warlock. But interestingly, in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, when we see the Collector's little den, apparently there's Adam Warlock's cocoon there, or pod, or whatever it is.
Oh,
But
right.
apparently James Gunn admitted that was a bit of a mistake. like looking back on it, because he wanted to include him in this film, but obviously kind of made a little homage to him in that.
I mean, you could essentially say that they were looking after Adam Warlock, because that's what the what's his name?
The Collector?
That's what the Collector does. He looks after stuff, because essentially they've put the Infinity Stones there for him to look after, not knowing that he's got 2, because he's got the red one from 4,
Yeah,
and he's got the purple one.
Yeah.
Or no, he used to have the purple. Doesn't have the purple one anymore.
Is he going to come back into it, do we think?
I think he is, because I'm pretty sure he's a villain.
Yeah, because he seems to have quite a lot of, it was building that he was going to try and collect all of them, right? So at the end of Thor Dark World, when they give him the ether, he's like 1 down, 5 to go.
Yeah.
And then obviously he gets the second one in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you just don't.
But he doesn't keep
see
the
it.
second one though, because the second one then gets used to put in that hammer, and that's when Peter Quill and all the others hold their hands together, and then they're like shaking about, and then he gets put in that Nova, their thing, and then that's when Thanos stands up and says, "I'll do it myself" or something, doesn't he?
Okay, fair enough.
But,
I just thought maybe he'd be more of a character like a Nick Fury, but the anti-Nick Fury, just popping up here and there. And
The thing is though, his place must have been destroyed by when that girl held onto the Infinity Stone and died.
But he's still alive.
And then he is still alive, but then you saw that I forgot his name, that duck.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck is now
he's
in
on that prostitute planet.
Yeah, he's now just roaming about doing whatever he's got to do. I
Yeah.
don't know if that has any reference to the Collector being finished. I don't know.
Maybe. There were a lot of cameos in this, which was really funny. So, like, obviously David Hasselhoff was one of my favourites. When he's like, I wanted my dad to be David Hasselhoff, and then Kurt Russell turns into David
I was
Hasselhoff.
so disappointed they didn't include the theme tune for Knight Rider. I
Yeah.
thought they would have at some point.
Might be post credits or on the CD maybe.
And what were the other 2 post-credits
So you had the guy doing the whistle with the arrow.
Was his name Kruger or something like that?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so, yeah. And then he got Drax in it.
That was hilarious as well, yeah.
I can't remember the 5th one. I feel like it was something to do with the Avengers, but it probably wasn't.
But they were all quite underwhelming, I thought. When they said there were going to be 5 post-credit scenes, I thought,
It's really bugging me. I can't figure
they're
out.
going to
the other
lead
ones.
into something
Just
bigger.
trying to think of them
or
sequentially.
be like a massive, clue to, or Easter egg to
So,
something
yeah.
else. But we didn't really get any of that, I think. I feel like they were a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean, just the last one, they're giving a new character, but I don't know
Yeah.
how that's gonna.
I think that one and maybe the one with Sylvester Stallone in it. Those are probably the 2 most useful
That's the
ones.
one we've
Yeah.
not mentioned, the original Guardians one.
Oh, is that
So we got the
Yeah.
original Guardians. We got Team Groot. We got the guy playing with the arrow.
Yeah. Then we've got Stan Lee, and then,
Oh, yeah.
then we've got Adam Warlock.
But yeah, those 2. So Adam Warlock and original Guardians probably the 2 most useful. They could have just had those 2, I think, and then
I think
the
the
other
Groot
3
one was fine though.
It's pointless though.
But I think it's to show, because loads of people don't like transition from films. So if we had the film where he's Baby Groot and then he's all of a sudden Teen Groot in the next film, everyone's going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
what? That's a bit of
Yeah.
it. But if you show it in the post-credit scene, you're kind of like, oh, so this has happened then already. So we're prepared for it for the next one. Or in the next one, we're prepared for him to be full-grown Groot again, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And also, obviously, like Chris mentioned, Peter Quill can now understand him.
So you could get the assumption that everyone else could understand him. So therefore, when you come and see the next film,
I half expected Doctor Strange to turn up in this
So
film.
did I.
And I
did
kind
as
of
well.
wanted him to.
Yeah.
see, I don't think he will, because he's got some association with Thor, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, he's going to be in
So,
Thor
I
Dark
think
World.
The person that should have
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, sorry.
They should have linked it to. They should have linked it to the villain in Captain America 3. No, 4 3. Because I feel
Okay.
like that's a spacey kind of thing. So then the association could have been made there. Because I assume at some point they're going to collide together.
Yeah.
And as Hulk and Thor are both in space on some island doing God knows what, you'd have thought there was been some like kind of association there.
I
But
thought they were going to get like Thor and Hulk were going to get a little cameo as well. You know the bit where they were showing all the different
All the
worlds
jumps.
being destroyed.
Yeah.
And stuff
Yeah.
like that. I thought maybe they'll show
That's exactly what I thought.
Asgard or
Yeah.
Hulk World.
yeah or something like that.
I've got to say that not enough films do post credits, like good post credits. So these ones did something which I enjoyed, but the one thing that I think always stands out is back for Rush Hour is their post credit scenes where it's just the outtakes.
yes,
I think every film should do that. Just
Oh.
because I'm always online just YouTubing bloopers and gag reels for these sorts of things. I'd love to see that.
I tend to find that there are a lot of films that do have gag reels at the end though, because the film's so bad. Like what's that one with Dane Cook? It's like My Best Friend's Girl or something. I'm pretty sure that's got bloopers at the end. That's because that film is shit. And then they're just like, oh look, it was actually funny, but
No, but Rush Hour though. Rush Hour has some quality outtakes.
Do you feel that those 5? I know you said maybe 5 was a bit overkill, but did they all have to be in Guardians? Could they not have split some of those important factors out across any of the other films? Maybe Thor Ragnarok
Probably.
or Doctor Strange.
Wasn't the Stan Lee one? Didn't we see him prior to the?
Yeah, we did.
So
Yeah.
that was just
Pointless.
unnecessary. That was just in there for the sake of it. The Arrow one was funny, but I'm sure they could have had that within the actual film.
Maybe, but but that was kind of straight after it finished. I wasn't even sure if that was one of the post-credit scenes because it doesn't actually happen during the credits. But wouldn't he become leader of the Scavengers if he's got that with the
No,
arrow?
because they're all dead.
I thought that was his special power. Yondu's
No.
special power.
All,
being able to control the arrow.
all of
Yeah, with his red
Yeah.
thing on his head.
But
all
the
of-
other guy can use it, so I was like, okay, it's not special. Then.
all of his crew are dead.
Yeah, but the Scavengers are a whole collective. That's
yeah, but
what
he
they're all
wasn't.
doing that funeral.
But he wasn't. Yondu wasn't the leader of all of them.
Yeah, but he might be becoming leader of some crew.
Not
I don't
anymore,
know.
mate. He's dead.
Yeah, but he's got a fucking arrow to kill anyone.
Yeah, I mean that arrow seems a bit overpowered. If I'm honest, I mean,
Well, it didn't kill Drax, which was interesting.
yeah, but
Considering it goes through everybody, but just sticks and Drax.
Maybe because he couldn't control it.
Maybe.
or maybe because
Drax
Drax
is
has
that
got some some absolute wank body. Yeah.
So Guardians 3 is going to happen after Infinity War.
Yeah.
So
Or-
those films going to collide, overlap.
Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in Avengers Infinity War. But
But don't know if they're going to be
Budget.
friend, foe,
Yeah.
or a mixture of both.
so we'll talk about the future of the MCU after we've done our rankings. Does anyone want to mention anything else about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 before we start?
I really liked it when I always like this in films when they like all the music gets really dramatic and you see all the main characters in the film. They kind of like pan around so you can see all of them in the same shot. I really like that in this film. So yeah, it's the sort of thing I like. In like the Avengers as well and Captain America. I think they did it as well.
That was the iconic thing in Avengers, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's
all meet.
That's what makes Avengers. Oh,
Whoa! He almost gave away his ranking there.
The thing for me is I thought that Guardians could have like really honed in on a lot of other films in this one. I think they genuinely, because the amount they were hopping about, it kind of just makes you think there were so many reference points that you could have pulled in. Maybe we missed loads.
But also when Ego, his seed on Earth starts growing, I think we mentioned this after we saw it in the cinema, I thought we'd see some of the Earth Avengers characters that we recognise. Doesn't have to be anyone huge. It could be fucking Hawkeye for all I care.
What town was it in?
Oh,
Because it wasn't it from where
Virginia?
Yeah.
Is it Virginia?
No idea what it was.
But yeah, I thought, they missed a trick there.
Yeah.
And I want to know, is Nick Fury like going to be in any of the other films? Because he was in pretty much every single one up until about Age of Ultron, and then
Dunno.
seems to have fallen off the face of the earth now.
He's still undercover, underground.
I don't know because I quite like Nick Fury. I like seeing him pop up here.
Has he appeared in one after Captain America 2? Because I know he was underground in Captain America 2.
No, he was in Age of Ultron, wasn't he? Because they go to Hawkeye's house, don't they?
He's not there, is he?
Yeah,
What's this?
He's in the shed in
What's
Hawkeye's
this?
house.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, sorry.
Because that happens after.
Yeah, I just watched that yesterday. yeah, no.
So what film's that? That's Captain America.
No, that's Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. So yeah, because he goes off in Captain America 2, doesn't he? And he comes
Yeah.
back in the thing. So I assume
He's
he's
still underground, isn't he?
I assume he's well because we don't watch Age. I think the problem we have as a collective is we don't watch the TV series, and I think Agents of Shield does hone in on some of these points quite a bit because Coulson's in Agents of Shield.
I miss him. I want him in the films.
Well,
again.
he's in all of the Agents of Shield, and they explain in depth, which is probably why season 1 wasn't great, why he's still alive.
Why is he still alive?
They have some research facility, and they did something with some alien tech, and it brought him back to life.
Fair enough.
And
Okay.
then they tried to wipe his memory of it, and then somewhere along the line he's gaining back his memory of it. But I think season 1 and 2, I can't remember what season 1 of it. I don't even know if it's on season 4 yet. But Agents of Shield hones in on the Inhumans quite a bit, alien tech quite a bit, and Agent Coulson.
Okay.
So
But none of the Avengers know he's still alive, do they?
not I'm aware of, because the whole point of Avengers 1 was that they knew he was dead. They thought he was dead to come together to kind of.
Yeah.
And then how annoyed would they be at Nick Fury for doing it? I don't know. There might be mixed views. They're not exactly together at the moment though, are they? So
Okay, well.
Oh, quickly. Sorry. One last thing that I probably didn't like that much about film. But I suppose it's true of most Marvel films. Like the villain is really powerful but really weak at the same time.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like
what's
he's-
this? Sorry.
was saying one thing I don't like about this film and most Marvel films is that the villain's really powerful but also really weak at the same time. So like he's supposed to be basically this sort of like almost god. He can create worlds, he can create planets, he can create whatever he wants. But then you can destroy him by blowing up
his brain
or the center of the.
And it was so easy to get to his brain.
Yeah.
You think he'd have some sort of, I don't know, if he was like omnipotent or whatever. You know,
this is
he'd
what
be able
makes
to
me think he's not, though, because I feel like he said he was a celestial or almost like a celestial. So it makes me think that he wasn't a celestial and he just thought of himself like that.
Mm.
So maybe his ego got in his way.
Yeah, maybe Peter Quill should have been the id.
Maybe.
You never know.
Yeah.
You look at me blankly.
Do we prefer,
It's Freud.
would we prefer Peter Quill to have powers or to not have powers?
Not
want
have
him
powers.
I think I agree with you.
I want him to have powers.
I don't want him to have powers,
Boo.
but I want him to have abilities, i.e. he can go into space and not die, or he can hold the Infinity Stone still. I don't want him to have that electricity where he's like, oh, let's make a ball and let's play catch.
That was funny.
hilarious.
That was funny.
I feel like
that is funny, yeah, but I don't want him to have that
Yeah,
ability because
okay.
I feel like maybe a little bit of it, like a hint of it, like if he electrocutes someone like that. I don't know, maybe, but that's about it.
I feel like it'd be cool though, because I imagine that several things will be destroyed in Infinity War. And if he's
Several things.
several
planets.
several buildings and
Several
cities,
billion people.
but and then if Peter Quill can somehow create it all, fix it all back again because of his powers, that might be quite cool.
Well, I think the thing you got with the Infinity Gauntlet, that when whoever possesses it or whoever uses it, if it's a good or bad, I feel like the problem you got is that any wrongdoing that can be done by this glove can then be undone by someone else who wears it.
Okay.
So I don't think anyone needs the ability to be able to create planets or fix planets, because I think this Infinity Gauntlet, because of the stones within it, can do something and then undo something. And I think that's going to be not their cop out, because I think it's probably what happens. But
Okay. Well, let's talk about the future of the MCU after we've ranked them all.
yeah,
So first of all, let's go around and say our number 15.
Oh,
so
sure.
Well-
what we consider to be.
well, Ollie can't
The-
do this though.
Yeah, so I'm only out of 10 films because I've seen 10 of them.
So Ollie's
I'll
seen 10
I'll
out
give
of
my
15.
10.
Why
My
does
number
why
10.
does Ollie do his 10 ranking and then us three do our?
Yeah, Ollie, give your number 10 first.
My number 10, well, it's got to be Hulk.
Yes. Okay. well,
So let's all go
yeah.
through.
okay. So the worst, according to Ollie, the worst MCU film of the 15 is Hulk.
But
Chris.
I want to I just want to jump in now. I said to Chris before this, 'cause I'm not sure if the Hulk would be considered within this, only because it's a different actor from the actual film to who's playing the Hulk now. Chris, you
But
said that
it's
the
official.
general.
Yeah, it's
It
official.
is.
It does consider it, and the general makes a cameo.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, go on.
makes a cameo as
yeah.
well.
So
I think
I'd
it's
like
just
to see Liv
because
Tyler back in it then.
I think it's because they didn't like the actor, or they couldn't. Who played Hulk, or he couldn't go with their schedule.
was it not because he had a contract with the studio for a number of films and then he just had to do it to fulfill that contract? I feel like
Who?
Edward Norton. I feel
But he
that,
didn't do it though.
well, he was in.
Yeah, you
Hulk.
did the
He
one.
was in Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
you
what
just
I'm
mean
saying.
the
That's why they
studio in
recast-
general.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
right.
feel like that was definitely a case with him, but I don't know if it was to do
Well,
with this film or another film.
I'm happy they changed it because they seem to have put a light-hearted character in his place.
Do you not feel bad for Mark Ruffalo for not actually having his own film now?
Nah.
Well, to be fair, it's probably done him some good because that film got bad ratings, as by our ranking right now. So
Go on,
Okay.
it's probably
do
done
you
him
wanna
some
carry
good.
on then?
So, yeah.
Mine's Hulk as well, 15.
So 15.
Yeah.
Hulk's 15 for me.
Hulk's 15 for me as well.
Okay.
At least we can agree on one.
Let's
Happy
talk about
days.
Right, so why was Hulk so shit?
It's fucking dreadful.
I think the
Oh,
problem you got is
God.
that you've done this Hulk origin story a few times, twice in fact. The first film that they brought out in 2003
With Eric Banner.
was so long and was so boring and just didn't make sense really because
Okay.
that genome was put into him
So,
They
beforehand.
don't explain. I swear they don't explain in the 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, 2008. So this was the second. This was the second film
Yeah.
in the MCU
Yeah.
that they created.
But do you
ever.
think
They
they
don't
do you
explain
think they
anything.
were planning such a big universe when they started
Yeah.
this?
Well, I think because they were setting it up, weren't they? They wouldn't have had Nick Fury and Iron Man.
I think the big thing of it of all, yeah, I agree with you, but I think the big thing of it all, I think it didn't matter how bad this film did, they just had to introduce him, and like you said, they do explain how he gets his powers. It's like through that machine, I think.
So essentially, Hulk's origin is that he tries to recreate the serum that makes Captain America so powerful. But because in Captain America 1, the serum gets destroyed, they only have his blood to try and retrograde or retrofit the serum, and then it fucks up, and it's why Bruce Banner turns into Hulk.
Yeah, and because
Was it?
also
I thought there was something to do with gamma rays.
Gamma rays.
But it's to do with the serum, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's gamma rays that turn him into the Hulk.
Oh.
That's why he's green.
But he might be trying to recreate it. But when he's doing the
green.
gamma rays, I can't remember which film it is. I don't know if it's in this film he goes in to stop the machine from exploding, or if it's in this film the machine just explodes while he's in a room. Because
I don't think it's in this. I don't think that's.
I'm getting confused between two Hulk films because
yeah.
I haven't watched them in ages. But it's the gamma radiation that's just the big talking point.
Because I'm
of
sure
it.
in the first one, in the one we're talking about, they don't show anything of him turning. Because I remember we watched it like a year ago. They don't show any of him turning into the Hulk.
No, they do.
They kind of explain it a little bit, like later on, but the first like half an hour of the film doesn't really explain anything.
Are you talking about the guy that the Hulk faces? Because isn't he on some sort of like? Yeah, he's definitely on some something to then turn, because he turns into a Hulk character, which you said is a Red Hulk, right?
That's supposed to be the Red Hulk.
No, the Red Hulk is
Abomination. Is it?
Red Hulk is the general. He becomes Red Hulk in the comics.
Oh.
This Hulk's the Grey Hulk, or he's Abomination that Glenn just said.
So, according to the synopsis of The Incredible Hulk, in The Incredible Hulk, a new backstory is established where Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk as an unwitting pawn in a military scheme to reinvigorate the super soldier program through gamma radiation. So he was trying to.
So did they actually show it though? I feel like we should.
I swear they don't.
Like, can I just?
So they don't actually. They show it in the snippet, don't they? Because we just literally just watched the first like 5 minutes of it.
5 minutes. It was like 30 seconds
of it back, and it was just like.
So do it in the. What do you call that? Pre-credits.
Pre-credits.
It's not a very good origin story.
No,
It's not, yeah.
but I think it's because everyone knows the origin story. Well, pretty much. Well, we say this. We're having a debate.
But that's the thing. So, like, obviously, we've just read as well that they have a new backstory based on the Super Soldier program.
But they do have. So they have the original one, which is the gamma radiation, and they've changed it so it ties in with the rest of the thing, isn't it? Rest of the universe.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But we would like to have seen him actually be Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
What he was like before Hulk.
True.
And then eventually then find out the serum or whatever.
I think it's what I was just saying before though. I think they just made a film to say, right, we've got the Hulk on board, and maybe it's that thing like you say, they've got to renew stuff, don't they? They've got to keep making stuff in order to keep the rights to certain things. So
yeah,
I mean, like, I know we're not talking about it now, we're talking about the Hulk, but Ego, the Living Planet, they had to do an exchange for that from Fox, didn't they? They had to
Teenage Negasonic Warhead.
Yeah.
From what?
In Teenage Negasonic in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Which, to be fair,
That's quite funny.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy got the better deal there because Teenage Negasonic Warhead's the shittest name for a superhero.
Can I just say, I don't think either of them got a good deal. Yeah, I don't think Ego, the Living Planet, was a great villain, and I don't think that she was a great anti-hero.
Well, I think we'll talk more about villains throughout this because I think there is probably one good villain in the MCU.
I agree.
So Incredible Hulk was bad across the board. I think Obi, you said the graphics.
Yeah, the graphics
got better.
The graphics, obviously, as technology improves, the graphics got better. But I think this original, well, not original, but this Hulk film, I feel like the graphics are not very good.
So I've got two questions for you then. So the first question is, of the two Hulk films that we've had, they've both been bad. Is it actually the Hulk? Is it that both films are just bad, or is it the property just doesn't lend itself to a good film? So that's my first question. Is he just better off as a side character, basically? Second question. Do you reckon it would have been better then if his origin had been sort of done in a post-credit scene in Captain America? Because essentially, obviously, Captain America wakes up in the present, and then they've obviously part of Captain America was trying to recreate the serum, and if they've done that at the end of Captain America and it didn't work and it turns into Hulk, I feel that would have been sick.
No.
Oh wow! Alright, shut down.
I'm shutting that down.
I think that's.
I think it's a good idea, but I'm only saying no to it is because you don't really see the strength of him in if you do a snippet that small, you don't really see the strength of him. I think when you make films like this, you see that like creating another bad guy similar to him is really dangerous, and that he is actually really powerful himself, kind of imagery. And I think you're right. I think it does lend itself to its own downfall, really, because you have got such a strong being, and you've only got Earth-like creatures that are going to battle it, unless you're going to go from the... I don't know if any of you used to watch it, but the Hulk cartoon, and he used to have this major villain that he used to always go against. I think it was like a little face with a big brain or something, unless I'm getting it confused.
Brainiac.
No, that's DC.
Boo.
But unless I'm getting confused with Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls. I'm pretty sure there was like that kind of villain from another planet that was... Or that Hulk was... No, I don't even know his name, but...
I was like, going back to Hulk, is it me, or does his size kind of like vary?
Yeah, so I think
in
in theory, as he gets angrier, he's meant to get stronger and
Bigger, right?
bigger.
Okay.
But you're right, because I think from the original film, he's substantially smaller than what he is in this film. But yeah, I mean...
It's like King Kong, isn't it? They just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's... This film that came out in 2008 is better than the one that came out in 2003 by a mile. However, 2003 at least explained the story a bit, although their story was pretty rubbish, because their story was his dad injected something into Bruce when he was a baby, then Bruce went and did this gamma radiation thing, and then he turned into Hulk, and his dad was already the Hulk.
Right.
In the original one, I believe. This one, it's the super serum soldier. Yeah, and the gamma radiation turns Bruce into this thing, and then he's got that love for Betty, where he doesn't want to hurt anyone, and he tries to keep his mind stimulated. Yet the Colonel, I don't know what his name is, wants to get him, doesn't he? Or wants to recreate him because he could be an army weapon kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thought Hulk number 15 or number 10.
Villain shit too. Sorry.
So.
But who would be the villain?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you need someone who's physically as big as Hulk, don't you?
Unless you brought Loki into it now, but then you wouldn't know who Loki was. So maybe you're right. Maybe the film should have gone in order of Iron Man, then maybe Iron Man 2, 4, then Hulk.
Or could Hulk be a villain? Because he seems like quite a villainous character. Like all the iconography of him, like he's big and green and like huge and destroys things and gets angry. Like if he was introduced as a villain in one of the superhero films, that might have been good. And then he turns on the good side.
But
that might
how
work.
would you create?
Well, Bruce Banner's always
good. Yeah. So how do you make him a villain?
Well,
Hulk's the villain.
because he's Hulk because he's like uncontrollable, isn't he? Really.
But what happens when they turn him back to Bruce?
Yeah, but they could. I don't know. Maybe
yeah, I know what you mean.
They could make a serum where he's permanently Hulk for a bit, and then they have to find an antidote. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
I think they could have done with putting the Hulk film later in the series, like you just said.
But I think it's like I keep saying, I think they just did it for the sake of doing it and having Hulk as an entity.
So we know that he's there. Yeah.
And it's like everyone does. Everyone's going to go and watch it regardless if they think it's going to be good, bad, wicked.
I'm not sure, because considering this was the second film in the MCU, they only had Iron Man to go off. So, whereas now people will watch it regardless.
But you'll have the diehard fans who used to watch that TV series with that bloke who didn't really look like Hulk, but he was Hulk. And then you had the cartoon, which everyone used to love as a kid. So I don't know. Maybe there was some...
I'm going to say this now, and my list is going to validate this, but the Iron Man franchise carried the MCU into the Avengers. I feel like without Iron Man, the Avengers, like the films leading up to the Avengers, really weren't that good.
I think Iron Man 1 carries.
I think Iron Man 1...
True. That is true. Iron Man 1...
I think I'm going to have to debate with you a little bit, because I think, personally, you said you thought Captain America was quite good.
Oh, yeah, I do.
But then, as a general consensus, it was... I think it's a mixed review. You've got the people who'd like that old school kind of vibe film, and then you've got the people who don't necessarily like it. And then me, personally, I think 4's quite good.
Okay.
And I think it did quite well in the origin story, but again, you two might not agree with me on that one. But I think it was a good average film.
Let's progress to number 14, or number 9.
Ollie, you go for number 9.
My number 9. Well, why don't you do your 4 and then you catch up to me?
Okay, cool.
Right, so I'm just going to say my number 14 is Thor 2, The Dark World.
Okay.
Oh, what?
Oh, you thought it was going to be Captain America?
So I did.
Nah, I didn't. Iron Man 3.
Oh, trust me, we're gonna debate.
It's
So yours is
Yeah.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
Iron
this is
Man
both
3
Iron Man
Iron Man
It's
3
rubbish.
is by
Rubbish.
far one of
Rubbish.
the worst
Rubbish.
films I've ever
Are you
watched
serious?
in my life.
Oh my gosh!
Rubbish.
It is so bad.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Does that mean I have to say where I put it now? Or
No,
No.
you can wait.
Well, let's
Wow.
talk.
Don't look at my lists. Jesus Christ.
I just
You go
thought.
really high up. I was like,
I'm
but
fine.
then- I told you the other day. You said you rewatched. You said you thought it was really good. And I was like, oh.
There's a handful of things I liked about the film. I think I liked the amount of suits he's got because it shows a diverse range and that he's going to be.
Yeah.
I now like the fact that after reading someone's fan theory that Pepper Potts could be dead.
Mm.
I think that's quite. A
She
good
gets
twist, isn't it?
she gets so yeah.
She
so I
falls
think
into
we're-
fire and
So she gets infected with the extremist virus, which
Yeah.
is what Iron Man 3 is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's Killian, someone Killian.
Yeah.
He,
Well, no, it's all about. It's originally all
Is it
about.
post-traumatic stress or something like that? After
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first.
But it's all
Avengers.
about
Mandarin.
Mandarin. That was
and
the
Killian.
Jesus. That was such a bad twist.
remind me who Mandarin is again?
He's that old bloke who was like saying to do all the terrorist activity, and then you find
Ben
out he's just
Kingsley.
some bloke from England who's
Trevor
just drinking,
Slattery.
drinking beer, and he's just got prostitutes, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna be a sick villain,"
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you just find out he's just this bloke who's just been paid to do it. And I was like,
See,
"What?"
Initially, like the first time I watched Iron Man 3, that really fucked me off.
Mm.
But I rewatched it the other day, and I actually quite appreciate that plot twist now because Killian says, he says, you need to give terrorism a face for people to fear, but obviously he didn't put his own face there because Killian's the mastermind behind the Mandarin. So he employs an actor as like a decoy, and then he can do all this stuff in the background.
Is this the one you mentioned as Croydon?
Yeah.
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 See, I don't like. I like that you found that connection, and I can appreciate that's in the film, but I just didn't like it. I've watched that film several times. I didn't like that they had that
What else
character in.
didn't you not like about it?
Was this also the one where it's might be Iron Man 2? Or might be Iron Man
This
1.
is the one where the president goes in the Iron Man suit for a bit.
Mhm.
This is where Tony Stark is just losing the plot a little
Yeah.
bit. I think.
Yeah.
So this is the first film after the Avengers, and
Yeah,
he's fallen out the wormhole, and he does have PTSD.
They didn't hone in on that enough.
Really?
I thought they did.
What I just thought.
That was one of the things I've really
'cause the first of all,
shot it up my rankings.
when he's in the calf, he's in the calf. He's in with Rhodey, and the
That's
kid
one of the
shows.
reasons why I don't like
He,
them.
he shows the pitch. The kid shows him the picture, and then he's like, and he gets into his Iron Man suit, and he's like flies off because he's like having whatever you just
Yeah,
said, PTSD.
yeah.
anxiety
And like,
attacks.
fine, that's fine by me, but I just. It was just. This is the same one where he crash lands somewhere and a kid helps him build his suit
Yeah.
again, isn't it? It's just.
Okay.
I think this. Do you know what made me not like this film as much? When people started saying that the little kid was going to be Iron Man. It was really angry. Like it made me angry. I just thought the baddies were just like people just like blowing up after putting a serum inside themselves. I was like,
I think one of the main reasons that I don't like this film is because I watched them. I watched Iron Man 1. When I watched them, I watched Iron Man 1, 2, 3 all at the same time, well, one after the other. And I like the first, really like the first one. The first one was alright, and by the time I got to the third one, I was like, oh, fucking hell.
So you need to rewatch. I think you need to
But
rewatch
is this the
it.
one? Is this the one where him and Rhodey are like kind of fighting for a bit?
No, that's Iron Man 2.
That's Iron Man 2, okay. What's the one where Pepper Potts like goes into?
yeah, that's Iron Man 3.
This Iron Man 3.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Why?
She should have killed him, man.
Yeah.
No,
And then,
lunged into
Do you
his
know?
heart
Do you know what
and
makes me
grabbed
even
the
more
fucking
annoyed? That he it's made me less annoyed now I've read this fan theory. However, the fact that he was able to like just fix himself.
thing.
He's just at the end of it.
Take the shrapnel
I can
out.
take the shrapnel out now, but I'm still gonna have this massive hole in my chest. But
Mm.
I can take the shrapnel out now.
Mm.
And like
Yeah.
he could fix Pepper Potts like that. Oh, because a few years ago I was so close to doing it, but I was so pissed I couldn't be bothered to do it. So now I'm gonna do it for Pepper Potts. Do you know what? She probably died on that operating table, and he's having some like mental breakdown again. And that's why they're not together. And he's like to everyone, oh yeah, she's just off doing whatever. I just honestly, it had its good points. Like every film has their good points, although Hulk maybe not so much.
I don't like. Sorry. So yeah, one of the things I don't like, Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. Just like,
Terrence Howard is the Don.
thank you. Terrence Howard is War Machine.
War Machine.
He is such a better actor for me. He fits the character much better than Don Cheadle does for me. Personally.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's such a joke. The reason why he's not in it, because he wanted more FaceTime.
He wants time in the suit. You didn't want to be.
He just wanted more
Did he
points to talk at.
Okay.
And then Don Cheadle gets him
Gets
anyway.
loads, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the whole
Do you
joke
think
of
that
it.
to spite him? To spite Terrence Howard?
No, maybe I think they just.
Oh,
I think the fact that he was demanding it was like, oh no, or Robert Downey Jr. might have been like, oh,
Well, maybe
wait,
they
hold
couldn't
on.
have given him those assurances when he was going to sign on. So, have you seen Iron Man 3?
I have, yeah.
Where, on your ranking 1 to 10, where was it?
It probably would have been number 8 for me.
Okay.
So
Quite low down.
quite low down. Well, yeah, I'm what five films behind you guys, so.
Alright. But relatively though, that would be your third
Yeah,
worst.
yeah, and I got to agree with Obi, who was saying earlier about it gets worse throughout the 1, 2, and 3. So evidently, number
Okay.
one's higher up. But yeah,
No, fair play. Obi, finish telling us why you didn't like Iron Man 3.
Oh shit! What was I gonna say?
So you don't like Don
Collective
Cheadle.
of points, mate. Collective.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. I can't remember the end, but isn't the end they're like in some? Where are they? Where's the setting at the end?
They're in the
They're
like.
on
where-
a Roxxon ship, a Roxxon oil ship, which is what I mentioned to you off air about.
Basically,
Roxxon.
she falls down for some reason, and she falls into the fiery pit on the floor, and then
Oh,
he picks her up, and she's still alive, or she's lying on the floor still alive. I don't know.
It's just a bit meh, to be honest, for me.
Really?
It's probably. I don't think any of these films, apart from Hulk, are like bad. I would say this is like a 6, maybe.
I was gonna say, I think as the films go, I think Hulk's probably a bang on 5,
Yeah,
and it only gets better from there.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not that this film. Sorry, it's not that this film is crap. It's just that the other films are better.
Yeah.
Comment on making this list. It was so difficult because I could probably put so many of them in exactly the same plane.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because I'm looking at most now, and one of the films which I'm going to talk about in a minute, evidently because it's next on the list, is quite low. But then I remember when I was watching, I was thinking this is actually alright. So
I reckon for
obviously
me,
it's not quite
between
low.
about 6 and maybe 9 are probably pretty much interchangeable
Yeah,
depending on
yeah.
what I'm feeling.
for me, like 7 to like 13.
I think for me as it goes, I think the top 7 are definites for me, and then the rest can be just
I
messed
agree.
about.
Yeah, I agree.
True.
Completely. Well, bar Hulk at the bottom
Alright.
and Iron Man 3 at the bottom.
Well, I put Iron Man 3 number 6.
Why do you think it was so good?
Yeah, why do you think?
So, well, okay, context here. I think the Iron Man films, while maybe not necessarily the strongest trilogy, which we could talk about later, but I feel like they are the best for character development because Tony Stark kind of goes through the ringer. So first of all, in the first film, he gets the shrapnel in his chest, and he's like this, mad inventor. And then the second one, hit the core in him is killing him essentially because it's poisoning him for the plutonium or palladium or whatever. And then so it's about him dying and also about his relationship building with Pepper Potts. So that's great character development. Also about his daddy issues a little bit. But that's not overplayed too much. And then the third film, PTSD, consider it. So I thought it was just.
He's the only one who suffers from that as well.
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
I just thought it was so nice to have. Chris is changing his list as we speak. It's so nice to have actual repercussions of a superhero film.
That's fair.
So that's one thing that I was really sorry to mention this in a Marvel podcast, but Batman vs Superman, there were repercussions of what happens in Man of Steel. But so it actually makes Tony Stark kind of more of a relatable character, even though these films are so out there. But the fact that he's probably one of the only real human characters, because obviously Chris Evans's Steve Rogers Captain America is kind of pumped up, and then Bruce Banner's obviously kind of alien-y. Thor's essentially a god. So as the only human character whose only
but he is a human genius billionaire.
well, he's
So he can't really relate.
but his quote-unquote superpower is his intellect, which helps him build the suit. But then he goes into the wormhole, comes down, and he suffers from that.
Traumatised,
He's traumatized. And I thought that was such a nice... Oh, not nice is probably the wrong word, but such a interesting concept to play with. The fact that he's having anxiety attacks and...
But I don't think you can base a whole film's ranking on the fact that he has this, because I get what you obviously you can.
But the reason why is because A, I thought that was a good plot point.
Okay.
B, I thought his acting was really strong for playing that character. I also initially I didn't like the twist with Kevin Slattery being the Mandarin, Trevor Slattery being the Mandarin, but again I understood the reasons why, and I thought Killian was a fairly suave villain. I don't know.
I feel like I could counter all your points, but it wouldn't really matter anyway. Because I think you're this character building from Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, it's great, and he's not a bad actor in any of the films though, and he's pretty pivotal in all the films. And I think that.
But it was just a bit more deep.
And that guy isn't the Mandarin, is he? He's just another villain, and he's just using the face.
He's created the
Mandarin, yeah. Which is again, you're right, it's clever, but I just think it was just a really weak storyline. I think that's it for me. I think it was a weak storyline.
Fair enough.
In comparison
for me, it's better than Iron Man 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Much better than Iron Man 2.
I mean, as like we said earlier, I don't think any villain. I think I can name maybe 2 villains that are probably really strong.
Okay.
And that's at a push.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So Ollie, I want to know what your number 9 was.
My number 9, it would probably be Doctor Strange. You know,
Okay.
Number 8.
I really was not a fan of
No,
that.
because number 8 was Iron Man 3. Well, we'll talk about Doctor Strange later because I think that's quite low down in all of our lists. So I want to talk about my number 14, which was Thor 2, which was shit.
It's not great.
I mean, it was where did you lot put it on your list?
I put it number 8.
Number 8. 12. Okay, so we were going to get to that shortly then anyway, weren't we? But, alright, Thor 2. So, what was good about Thor, right? First Thor, what I enjoyed about it was essentially, he's like this fish out of water. He goes into the diner and he drinks his coffee. He goes, I want another, and smashes it on the floor. And it was like, there was some sort of comedy of him being like in somewhere not knowing all the etiquette, right? And then also the chemistry between him and Loki in their battle. That's what made Thor work. Thor 2 is mostly about his relationship with Jane Foster, with the beautiful Natalie Portman. And again, like, the Dark Elves were just really shit. The ether thing didn't make too much sense to me, in terms of like all the worlds aligning and all the gravity being weird. Malekith, who's the main villain, and Curse, who's his side villain, which is dreadful. Like, what happens with so many of these films is there's a big bad villain, like Malekith, like Killian, and it's basically their side villain who's more powerful than they are, and who takes longer to get killed. This is the same with Iron Man 2. So arguably the main villain in Iron Man 2 is Hammer, whatever his name is. But then
I wouldn't say that.
But then Whiplash is like the.
Because Hammer is trying to create something that's better than Tony Stark creates.
Yeah, but he
gives the villain the ability to become more of a villain.
True. But in the case of Malekith and Curse, like, Curse is a lot more difficult to destroy, and eventually he does die. And then Malekith dies really easily. Like, the fight doesn't last that long, and there's no real threat. I mean, he does kill Thor's mum, but I was just like... And it was too much like a Star Wars film. So, like...
That's a bad thing?
Well, because it's not a Star Wars film. It was homaging too much to that. Like when they got all their ships flying through Asgard, and it's like.
But what did you want though? What would you want? Would you want like an army of people storming Asgard?
Maybe.
Well, see, this is the problem. Like, I think, like for me, maybe it is too high up my ranking because I haven't watched it recently, and I remember it being good personally. And my personal preference is that Thor films are actually fairly decent. But I think they reignite the flame between Loki and Thor in this film, and I think they show that Loki is still the big bad villain he is, and he's a lot smarter than people are giving him credit for. And it also shows the side to Loki that he's actually quite depressed. Whether he's playing on that or not, you don't know. And then, like, I think it hones in on Loki quite a lot, and I like that. Maybe that's just me.
No, I like Loki.
Also, for himself, maybe it's not too much character development. I don't think. I mean, again, you see that he loves Jane Foster, but we knew that anyway from the previous film. I think they're just giving her a bigger role in the film, really, as well. Like her being this trigger for this
Ether,
new ether or this new Infinity Stone, or whatever you want to say about it, really. But
also what fucks me off is it's mainly set in Greenwich, and one of the points is that Thor gets transported to Charing Cross, and he's on the tube, and he goes, "How do I get to Greenwich?" He goes, "I'll just take this 3 stops." It's like,
because we googled that.
If you want to go from Charing Cross If you want to go from Charing Cross to Greenwich, you've got to go. You maybe walk to Waterloo and get the Jubilee line, or I don't know.
It's kind of long.
Do your fucking research.
They did say that was like some major plot hole in that. But
Why would you bother doing that? Like, surely someone's like, oh, where should we get Thor to go? Oh, how about Charing Cross? Oh, yeah. But maybe Charing Cross, you can't get there on the tube to They could have gone to, I don't know, Canary Wharf. That's on the Jubilee
I know.
line. Could have got to
But-
Greenwich.
I mean, inevitably, didn't he? Did he have his hammer at that point? He didn't, did he? Because he could have been flying everywhere anyway.
Yeah.
If he had his hammer. I mean, yeah, I think it's not the greatest film, but for me personally, it's not that low down. I think there's a lot worse films in terms of storylines and stuff.
I think the storyline's pretty weak.
The highlight for me.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah.
I think I mean, I don't think it's great. I think there's points in it that enhance it for me. Like, I thought that the grenade things that it had were pretty cool, and then they used that inevitably at the end. And then I think the fact that they introduced a collector at the end, I think maybe I'm being biased because I like the 4 films, but I think everyone's going to be like that to their own.
There's a vague subplot in Thor 2 about Eric Solvig dealing with the fact that he was possessed by Loki in Avengers, and he basically goes mad and starts running around
I
naked.
hated that.
So that is essentially doing a similar thing to what happens in Iron Man 3 with Tony Stark's
They're doing
PTSD,
it
but
too.
they just did it fucking shit.
They tried to make it more comedic, I think, and it
there
just
was
failed.
There's no depth to his kind of what he's experienced
Did he
and
get naked at
suffering.
one point?
Yeah,
He gets
Runs around
naked and he's running around Stonehenge,
Yeah.
and then they see him on TV. They go to the place. They pretend to be his.
Yeah, and that's that, and the side that Ian, who's
All the psychics are shit. This is what I wanted to say while you guys were talking.
I just think Selvig is a really weak character.
I think apart from I liked Loki in the film, but I like Loki in pretty much every film.
Yeah.
Like Thor's mum was alright. Apart from that, even Thor himself and everybody else. Rubbish.
his little Game of Thrones sidekicks like Sith and the ginger bloke who looks like the ginger bloke from Game of Thrones. They're all crap.
See, do you know for me, you know you're saying earlier that loads of them on a pedestal. I think this is the problem I'm having right now. I think on a pedestal for me, and I hate to say it because everybody's going to hate me for it, but it's a good it's like Thor 2, Doctor Strange, Captain America 1, Captain America 2, Iron Man 2. I think they're all on a pedestal for me.
So this is why I rewatched. So, context listeners, I rewatched most of the MCU films in preparation for this because I didn't remember most of them, and inevitably my list changed. Like Iron Man 3 was quite low down on mine initially, and that it shot up. So I've got that benefit of.
But you have that undeniable hate for Captain America. So
Wow. But I just want to
Yeah.
say the last thing, like what I quite liked about Thor 2 was Chris O'Dowd's character when he goes on a date with Jane Foster. That was pretty much the only thing I liked about it. But I guess when we come to your number 8 and your number 12, we can talk a bit more about Thor 2.
I've said all only.
Yeah,
So.
I don't
Fair
need to-
enough.
Because the more I spoke about it, the more I'm thinking maybe it should be lower down my list. But I don't want to change it anymore because I know the others I don't really like. So
Have you seen Thor 2? No?
No,
Okay.
don't
That's a no, mate. That's a
Don't
no.
bother me.
Was not one of the 10. I'm sure it would have been number 11 anyway. So, we are on to number 13. Oh, I was trying to have a peek at my list.
Are we on 13?
Spoilers.
yeah.
Can I just?
Oh,
So
yeah.
for me,
Hang on, Ollie.
No. This is out of this.
So, number 13. I hope you don't try and look at my list. I'm just going to get it out there. Get it out of the way. My number 13, Captain America, the First Avenger. Alright. Chris, what was your number 13?
Avengers 2.
Oh,
Yeah, it's bad me.
really? You both...
It's not my number 13, but
Oh, okay.
it's pretty low down.
What was yours then?
Mine was Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange,
Oh,
right.
wow, okay.
So, we all number 9 was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it was pretty
So,
low.
kick us off, Ollie. What was bad about Doctor
I
Strange?
was just not enjoying the story, like
too.
any of it. It was just really
I think I fell
quite
asleep.
quite dull, man. I mean, like really great, like good acting, amazing special effects,
Yeah.
but I think just too much.
Mm.
Like I couldn't really follow it, and it was just
Too Inception-y.
Yeah, it was.
yeah, kinda. I mean, I could have watched that film upside down, and it would have made me feel the right way up.
I love it.
What about you?
For me, for me, it's a few things. Like, I don't think the storyline was really that great. I'm not, because it was quite like, it's all about like mysticism and magic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like in these superhero films, that's not really my.
You do like magic?
I do, but like,
Yeah, because you like Guardians of the Galaxy, so...
yeah, but it it wasn't really the same. I don't know. There's something about it. I just wasn't really feeling it. Like the beginning of it, I feel like the origin of it, like the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, let's say, he fucks up his whole body. Obviously, like that bit was just a bit rubbish. Obviously he's like the typical, he's a bit Iron Man-y, like arrogant, sick at his job, and then he gets crashed down to earth and blah blah blah. I don't know. It was a bit cliche. Not great.
It had such a shit ending as well with that fucking fight.
Oh wow!
That's my main thing. The fight at the end,
Dormammu?
really bad. Another one where the villain's supposed to be really strong, but in the end you just beat him by annoying him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, which I just think was really silly.
Well, I wonder if Dormammu's going to come back
I don't know.
in the future. 'Cause he's quite a big villain, isn't he?
Yeah.
In comics.
I mean, I agree with you. Majority of the things you're saying. I mean, one of the big things that really annoyed me about the film was the end credit scene.
What was?
I didn't mind
Thor?
that. I didn't mind the incredible.
Well, the only reason it annoyed me, no.
Oh yeah.
So is that he took away the guy's powers to stand up again. But how did he do that? Because I'm sure the power they have is within them, isn't it? Isn't this the whole thing that there's another power surrounding them so they can manipulate the magical world?
Jedi's, man.
And then
Jedi's.
all of a sudden he just goes up to the guy, touches him or does something to him, and he just suddenly becomes this cripple again.
But that's because didn't he give him the power in the first place? So if you give him
But
the
I
power,
thought they didn't get given the power because Doctor Strange didn't get given a power.
No, but he learned it. But didn't this cripple guy? They gave him
So they just gave him the
part
power.
of his power to.
They just gave him power.
Oh, I don't know.
This is what I mean. Like, I'm agreeing with you. I think that the end fight was a bit. It had its funny parts where he's just continually killing him, but yeah. And then there was this whole thing that if you manipulate time, there's going to be a big consequence. Where's that consequence? I can't see it anywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see it nowhere. So I'm like, I'm totally with you, but at the same time, like, I mean, yeah, you're right. Benedict Cumberbatch, good acting. I mean, he played
I
the
was
villain
actually
and the
gonna say-
hero.
I was gonna say, what do you think of the casting then?
I think
Well, there was a little bit of whitewashing about it that a lot of people were saying it was a bit of
Oh, really?
controversy.
with the ancient one.
The
innit?
ancient one.
Oh, the ancient one.
Doctor
Oh, right,
Strange,
yeah. Because I was going to say Doctor Strange is definitely not.
No.
Yeah, but thing for me was that I thought his accent was actually fairly decent.
I thought it was alright.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Because I'd never seen Benedict Cumberbatch in anything before this.
Putting
So
those
I-
American actors out of jobs.
So I just
Yeah.
isn't it? Samuel Jackson would be pissed off.
Yeah,
But I thought it was alright. I didn't even notice. Like I
Yeah.
forgot that he was English.
English. The thing for me, I think for me, maybe I'm more hyped about this film because Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. Because I think there's not many things that I've seen that I don't like that he does. And then I think as the film goes, I think what you got to take into context, and maybe I'm completely wrong for doing this, but I think you got to figure out that between when he starts at this academy or whatever you want to call it, and when he finishes at this academy, there's been a great deal of time, and it's not just been a few days or a few hours, and it's been maybe weeks, nearly a year, that he's conjured up all this ability. Because, like you were saying outside this podcast, he's referenced within Captain America 2.
Yeah.
So he has been on the scene for some time, but we're just not aware of it.
Yeah.
And maybe the villain in that one, there's two villains in that one. Again, you got the main villain, which is Hannibal, whatever you want to call him in this. The guy who plays
Oh,
Hannibal.
Max
yeah.
Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's the real villain of this, and then he conjures up whatever his face.
Donnarumma.
Yeah.
Dormammu.
I thought that his self-acting cape.
Oh, that was
I don't
shit.
like that either.
But I think that is a thing.
that's fine, but I just didn't like it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What about that? I thought it was quite cool, that thing that trapped the main villain.
A suit.
Yeah, that suit thing that kind of like trapped him for a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It
I mean, as the animation goes, I thought the animation was wicked in that film.
was good.
It was
but-
great, but yeah, it's
Just
just
too much.
it was just too VFX heavy.
I think as well. This is like, I know we've seen a bit of magic. Well, we haven't really seen
But
magic.
this is the
We've
first
seen
introduction
illusion.
to the cosmic
Yeah,
realm, isn't it?
So I think that's why I think it's going to be quite
I mean, this
lower down on our things because it's the first introduction of it, and it's
Maybe.
like.
But then Guardians of the Galaxy was probably the biggest gamble they had.
But
at
that's
that
out
time.
in space, so anything that happens out there, we're a bit more like, okay, that's fine. It's out in space. We don't know what's out there. Like magic, you're a bit like, oh, okay, magic's
Yeah,
not really
that's
real.
fair.
But then, yeah, I
But
mean,
then, do you not appreciate the fact that he doesn't become like he doesn't become fully powerful at the end of this film?
I appreciate that.
but he does become somewhat powerful enough to use the amulet, and
Yeah.
but then is that because he's got photographic memory or whatever he's got to be able to read stuff faster than other people?
Where
I
did
don't
you
know.
put it?
9th.
I put it let me just double check. I put it 11th. So
we're all in. So you and me are kind of in the same.
Mid-terrain.
I mean, this upon watching the other films, this film went way down.
It's not
I mean,
great. It's not
no,
great.
See, I think
wasn't.
It's okay, but it's not
That's
great
the thing,
at
like-
all.
What I think really, for me, shows that it's not great is I really didn't want to watch it again.
No,
Like I
no,
didn't.
I wouldn't watch that again.
Yeah, see, I bought
wouldn't
it, and I
watch
don't
that
think
again.
I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
it again. I
this
think
is the
I just.
thing. I would say that probably the top 8 films, maybe 9 for me, have rewatchability, but from 10 and below.
But the thing is,
I
I
watched
even
that.
made myself watch Thor 2, Captain America, and then my number 12 is Iron Man 2. I watched all of them again, and I knew that they weren't great, but
See,
I could. Maybe it is this whole magic kind of. It was just an assault on my eyes, man. It was just-
Yeah.
I was like, wow, my eyes are being fucked.
I can't remember because I haven't watched it again. But there's definitely a point in the film where he could have jumped from one place to another because of them funky magical doors, and he chooses not to. And then I can't remember, but it really annoyed me about the film because there was an easier way of getting somewhere, and he chose not to take it.
There was the reference to Captain Marvel in this film, though, wasn't there? When he's driving in his car and it's like, something about the patients that he's had, and they mention War Machine, his
Oh yeah.
back kind of crippledness, and then they mention is it Carol Danvers or something about that.
They mention War Machine's crippledness, and he's fixed him.
or that he's on the list of being, yeah, which
Okay,
doesn't
'cause
doesn't
then
make
that-
sense in terms
That
of the
doesn't make
chronology,
sense.
does
That's
it?
a continuity error
Yeah,
because Captain America 2 references.
exactly.
Strange,
Unless they
unless-
know that he's going to become powerful.
This
But
is the thing.
how do they know?
In Captain America 2, because I literally just watched it this morning, the bit when they were saying about, they said Stephen Strange, it's like all future threats, past, and present,
yes.
past, present, and future, something like that.
That's
Then Captain America said, "How do you know?" And then he explained it, but I can't remember what the
Oh, it's that
explanation was.
system. That system in the machine that could hone in on people who were. Oh no, but that was only I thought that was people with abilities though. Actually,
I think it's something like that, Chris.
But yeah.
That's the thing. They're just going to kill all future.
Yeah, all
people.
future possible threats. But yeah, I think that's how they kind of explained the way. So I think at that point, at Captain America 2, like Doctor Strange wasn't a thing yet,
Yeah.
but they knew that he had the capability of being a threat to Shield or Hydra, whatever they were talking about.
Who was the female? Was it Rachel McAdams in this? In Doctor Strange?
I can't remember. She's a very forgettable
That,
character.
exactly. She was
Very forgettable character.
so under.
She wasn't really in it.
No, she was
Really?
underused. To,
Yeah.
Why you'd have her, like a really famous actress, and just give her such a bit part to play? I kind of wanted them to have Claire Temple from the
Okay.
Netflix show.
Okay.
She's a nurse in like the
Rosario Dawson.
yeah, Daredevil and Iron Fist and everything
All of
basically.
them,
She's like the continuity between.
She's
all
Phil
of them.
Coulson. Phil Coulson.
Exactly.
Of the thing.
Yeah. I mean, instead of having so what do you think, Chris? We were saying like, Rachel McAdams plays a nurse.
Oh yeah, she's.
They should have had.
That's pretty
They
much
are-
why she was in it. That's just right.
She was so underused, but they could have probably just had that as Claire Temple.
Yeah, I mean the only reason they put her in it is because she's fit in it. So. No, I'm joking.
You're not joking, though.
No, I'm not. She didn't really do much, so
Exactly,
that's the only
so
reason I'm
it's what
saying
we're
it.
saying. She was
So,
barely in it.
They just got. She
Pointless.
is a good actress because I've seen her in other things, but I'm pretty sure they just got in her because she's an attractive
and even it was
actress.
that bit where she was like kind of trying to take care of her, and he like lashed out of her because he was angry at himself. It was so cliche. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was alright. Yeah.
On to number 12.
Oliver, what's your 7 or 8?
What
Because
was
he
my,
hasn't done his 8.
what's
Yeah,
my
8
going
was
on?
Iron Man.
So it was what Hulk, then Doctor Strange, then it'd
Yeah.
probably be for me Iron Man 3.
And then what's the one after that?
What's after
One after that, probably Avengers 2
No.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that's low
slash
down.
Iron
Yeah.
Man 2. Some of them are so
So-
on the same
Okay,
level
yeah.
Spectrum
So
is
you
all the
said-
same.
for me
So
anyway.
you said, what did you say, sorry?
Avengers 2.
Avengers 2. So what was your number 12, Chris?
I just changed it.
Okay.
What is it?
now?
Oh, it's such a tricky one. I don't know.
Go with your gut.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm really sorry. It's Captain America.
That's fine. Because when you say it, it's taking ages. Go, what's your number 12?
My number 12 is Iron Man 2.
My number 12. Okay, cool.
That was what it was just then, and I've just
Okay.
switched it.
So my number 12 is Thor 2, which we've already spoken about, so we can move on.
Okay,
from
so
that.
we haven't talked about why Captain America is so shit. And we
Yeah,
also haven't
yeah.
talked about why Iron Man 2 is so shit. So,
Okay.
let's start with Captain America because that was my number 30.
So, Captain America.
Right.
Where
Go.
do we begin on this one, really?
Why did you move it down your list?
I only moved it down because I moved one up. So it's because I moved Iron Man 2 up to 10th.
Okay.
And so then it just had a knock-on effect on
Right.
the other two Captain Americas. So for me, they're pretty on par, Captain America 1 and 2. Personally.
Really?
I didn't really like
Jesus
it.
Christ.
The thing is, I'll tell you what, I was with the same one as you. I really didn't like Captain America, and then he was like, rewatch it, you'll appreciate it a bit better. And I did rewatch it, and I did appreciate it a bit more. Because it's like, again, it's like the whole thing about this kid struggling, and he wants to be something more, and then he becomes this big superhuman.
I really didn't like the CGI to make Chris Evans skinnier
timing?
and
But
smaller.
what are they going to do, though?
I don't know.
He
I
can't wear a
didn't like
small
it.
suit, can he? And just walk
Just
around.
did not like it. It really took away from a lot of the film for me. And then
It's only in it for like 10, 15 minutes, if that.
still
I suppose.
set a precedence, didn't you?
Yeah.
Also thought that Red Skull was just
That's fair.
dreadful.
That's fair.
Yeah, true.
That's fair.
Absolute.
That's fair. That's the only bad thing I have.
I
with
think the
film,
I think the
personally.
storyline was pretty bad. Like the fact that
No.
he was the guy, he was the merchandise really of it all, wasn't he? He was the guy selling the war to other people. Like, I'm Captain America, I'll be there to save you. And he wasn't even using his powers. He was just the front cover for it all, really. And then, because he's needed, he then goes into action and starts saving people, doesn't he?
It was because he realised that what he was doing wasn't making a difference.
Yeah.
So it's a character development.
Isn't that a good 35 minutes of the film? No, maybe an hour into the film before he starts realising.
What I
Yeah,
also,
yeah, I know what you're
what I
talking about.
really did not like about this film is the fact that the opening shot of the film is them discovering his shield in the ice.
But so it's modern day, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so unnecessary
What?
that they find his shield in the ice.
Only
You might
reason-
as well start it from when it's back in the 40s, and then right at the end because in the post-credit scene anyway,
Yeah.
they he's back in modern times. They might as well have had that there. I don't see why they needed that right at the front. Like, that kind of ruined it, because it's like, oh, I know this might sound silly, but A, he survives, but B, then he becomes in modern times. There's no. I was watching that whole film being like, well, I know that he ends up in the ice, so it kind of spoils the ending for me.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, actually. And, like, he's going to be alive, and that inevitably this whole film's kind of pointless because it's just introducing him. But I mean, yeah, it's got character building. All the base films have character building, man. Like, so,
Right.
but
Hulk doesn't.
Right, okay.
yeah, I suppose not.
Obes, where did you
That's why
put,
it's 15th, mate. Though.
where did you put Captain America on your list?
So Captain America 1 for me is 6th.
Oh god. Okay.
Jeez,
Right.
he likes old school stuff, mate.
This is the
That's
thing.
what
I'll tell you why. I love war films. I love superhero films. What could be better than a superhero war film
It's
put
not, it's
together?
not really a war film.
It is though. It is though. I like.
It's about war.
That's fine. Okay, but it is based around, was it the Nazi war? So I like that. I liked. I love Steve Rogers. I liked how he was like this puny little guy, but he had so much fight in him. Like, never went to get a fight. Wanted to serve his country, even though they wouldn't let him. That's so like volunteered for to get the super soldier serum and all that stuff like that. Is that right? Super soldier, yeah, super soldier serum. Becomes like this big like soldier and whatnot. But then they're like, oh yeah, we just want you to be in the what's it called, like the shows and stuff like that, to just sell the war sort of thing rather than actually being in it. And then he realizes that he's not really making a difference doing what he's doing. Gets his gear on, goes to actually fight. Shows a bit of character development, shows what sort of like man he is, because a lot of people would have just like carried on doing what they were doing, getting paid, doing whatever.
Oh, did you mention the grenade bit?
Yeah. The bit where he
That
jumps
was-
on the
that was
grenade.
pretty-
Yeah,
that
the
was
bit where he
pretty
jumps on
good,
the grenade, and that's obviously some fake kind of shows like he's just like he's a leader.
Yeah, it shows his intelligence in this
Yeah.
film, because like also the bit that like the two bits that stand out for me obviously are the grenade bit and the flagpole bit where everyone else is trying to climb up it.
Yeah,
and they
he's
can't.
smart. Yeah,
Which
yeah,
can I
yeah.
just say, I'm pretty sure that would have been easy to climb up. However, he's smart and he
He's
gets
smart.
it down.
He's very smart.
And then you also got the love interest between him and
Him and Peggy Carter have a good bit of banter.
Yeah.
Peggy Carter's fit. Haley Atwell's fit.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
And
Do you know what I mean? I just really enjoyed it, and it was one of the first ones.
it was
the
the
third.
fifth film.
Was it the
fifth film.
fifth?
It goes
Yeah.
Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, 4, Captain America.
Really? Wow.
Maybe Captain America's before.
What I don't like about Captain America as a character is that he doesn't really have any flaws.
That's the whole point.
But he does in a way, not in this film, but as we later
His
get on.
flaw is the fact that he just bums off Bucky too much, man.
And his flaw is that.
That's
Yeah, I suppose that is his only flaw, really.
yeah, I don't really
of
like
course they go
Captain
with the
America.
comic
I
book,
love Captain
unless they go with a new comic book theme and he's actually part of Hydra.
That would be interesting.
I think the storyline's strong as well. I know you said before it was weak, but I thought it was pretty. I think it's pretty strong, personally. Anyways, obviously, I agree with you. The Red Skull is a really, really terrible villain. I agree with you that, and obviously even like the main.
But that's how he is,
whatever,
though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's really awful.
But there wasn't enough Red Skull for me.
Would you?
Like
Yeah.
again, of a lot of these films, recurring theme
Maybe he's not dead.
is the fights. Maybe, but the fights with the main villain don't last that long. They spend an hour and a half building up to a fight that lasts 10 minutes.
The thing you could argue that the actual villain is his mate, the little one.
Zemo.
Zemo. That's the one. 'Cause he's the smart one. He's the one behind all the.
Yeah.
Which you find obviously in Captain America 2. You find that he's
Yeah.
behind all the.
Thing for me, do you know? This is what I like about the MCU is that you have such a variety of film that people are gonna like one and people aren't gonna like the others, and I think that's what they've done really well. Like, obviously you've put Captain America high up your list. You've put it way below, and I've put it just below average. Like, and where'd you put it?
Have you seen Captain
I
America?
haven't seen Captain America. It's off my list, mate.
Don't bother.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
Also, just want to interject to this point, like listeners, tweet us and let us know what you think about our list. So we're at YSC Podcast 17. We're on Instagram, Your Average Critics, and also Facebook, Your Average Critics. We want to know what you think of our list. Do you agree with us? Like Obi, do you really like Captain America, or
If you're giving me Captain America slander, I will block you on Twitter.
Oh mate, just type in Bolo Zendel on Twitter, and then you'll find Obi, and you can harass him. Although he does change his Twitter handle every 3 minutes.
I change my name frequently.
But yeah, do get involved and let us know. And then we want to hear your thoughts, and we'll read them out next time as well. But let's go on to Iron Man 2 then, because we both had that low down our list. So you had that 10th?
Yeah, I moved it. No, I moved it up to 10th.
It was your 12th.
I moved it up to 10th. It was 12th, and I moved it up.
Okay.
Only because we were discussing it a bit more, and I thought about it a bit more.
Mine's 10th as well.
And I think.
Did you say what was your 12?
12 was Thor 2. We were just talking
Okay,
about that.
cool. So,
Wait, before you go on, I've got to go.
Ollie, been a pleasure, mate.
Ollie, do you want to just quickly reel through your...
I've got my list. I wrote it down. I
Yeah,
think you guys
go-
can read
yeah,
it out.
go on,
Okay,
just
so
go
for me, should we go up from where we
Yeah.
are? So bottom.
So go start from 10. So,
Hulk.
Yep.
Doctor Strange. Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2. Avengers 2. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. Avengers, the first one. Shamefully. Iron Man 1, Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Quickly tell me why you think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is the best one.
I don't know. I definitely don't want to say it's because it's the most recent, but I think it's just more. I don't know. I'm just really not a fan of the others. What can I say? I think they'd all be much lower than. But for superhero movies,
Yeah.
fair enough.
what can I
Thanks for
say?
your input, Ollie.
What's your most favourite superhero movie, Ollie? Not Marvel, just in general.
Dark Knight, isn't it?
Nice.
Boo, DC.
Oh, no.
Boo. Yeah, so Iron Man 2. Also quite low down on our list. Kick us off, Chris.
I can't wait till we get to the... Sorry. I can't wait till we get to the high up ones.
I know.
There's so much more
I know.
better to talk about. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, Chris. Go.
I think for me, I moved Iron Man 2 up the list because don't even know why. Because I'm not even sure.
Essentially, what I didn't like about it, what I did like about it, again, like I said, was the character development of Tony Stark, like dying and trying to find the new.
But this is before.
I'm
This is before Avengers.
just saying that he's dying.
Oh right, yeah.
Isn't the thing.
Oh, that's what I liked about the film because he's like
Yeah.
creating his own atom thing.
Oh my god! Right, that's one thing I didn't like about. The
Oh,
film,
right.
Is it takes him about 4 seconds to create a new element.
But this is it. This is the thing throughout the whole Iron Man. Right, well, not the whole Iron Man thing, but the Iron Man 2 and 3. You see his intellect like quadruple within moments. Like he's really smart. He's a rich guy in the first one, and he knows how to tinker with machinery, and he all of a sudden becomes this absolute world genius, like one of the most intelligent people in the world.
Yeah.
Which he is in theory in the cartoons, that is, or in the comics, that is what he is. He's a really intelligent guy. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. He does it really quick. the thing I got really miffed was that his dad knew about it. He always got the sense his dad knew about it because his dad was. It's that video of his dad saying, "Oh, there's something else here." Like, ooh, but how did you know that this element was going to be needed? How did you know? Like, it was just so.
Again, I think this was probably the Iron Man film with the most tangential kind of link to anything, and I was just like, and also, like Mickey Rourke's character Whiplash, A, bad Russian accent, but B, who's just shit, and he literally gets destroyed. He literally gets beaten up in about 2 minutes. Like they spend about 10 minutes fighting all those droids, and then when it comes to fighting him, he gets both him and War Machine in each one of his whips, and all they do is just put their hands together, like fire their beams together, and he's dead. And I was like, there was no. There's not even a. What I want is these films for there to be a point where you think
he might not
actually, actually, this character might not make it, and I think that is probably the problem with Marvel. As a whole,
there's no stakes.
Because even with Civil War, I thought, oh, you've got to kill one of them.
I feel like because that's the one thing Civil War probably did well. You kind of have this almost pre-battle where there's like this thing where you're like, oh, I could lose this kind of thing. But in all these other films, there's not really the pre-battle. Like I know in Iron Man 2, the racetrack does the whips, and then it's like, oh, right, there's a really dangerous guy. But there's no real battle before the end battle. Yeah. Like there's all this lead up. Oh, well, we've got to stop them, or how do we find them, or blah 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 blah. But there's no pre-battle to say, oh, I could maybe lose this. It's always the main character's self-inflicted like battle that he's got. Yeah. So like in this one, it's he's dying, which I must admit that's pretty crucial to life for the living. However, to the film and the bad guy, not so crucial. Yeah. I mean, the points I liked were probably I did like the defence conference they had. Was it the Secretary of Defence?
Yeah, that was funny.
And I thought the video was pretty cool as well, like how other countries are trying to make it, and then. But again, this guy who wasn't the original inventor of it, it was his dad, and then suddenly, bam, he's really smart. He can invent these Tesseract whipping, or not Tesseract, but whatever, these whipping things. But I suppose that any baddie, that's going to be the case because they've got to have some kind of bad.
Right, this is going to sound like a really, really stupid question, but are the Iron Man suits made out of iron, or are they made out of like vibranium or something?
I feel like the smart thing would be to make them out of vibranium.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's actually mentioned, because obviously Iron Man you kind of think is made of iron, but my problem with that is when Whiplash whips the cars, he slices them in half, but when he whips Iron Man, it doesn't cut through the metal. And if that suit is made out of iron or any normal metal, it's just gonna. Oh, I know these films
would
are not realistic.
Would iron break through iron?
Probably at least dent it. Yeah. Like these suits are so strong.
I'll tell you what, I'll ask Google.
Thing is, I don't think so we got vibranium and we've got.
I don't know if I'm just being.
I feel like it can't
silly
be.
Trying
I feel
to
like
add
it
some
can't.
Sort of realism to
I
these
feel like
films,
it can't be vibranium because that's the thing that's on Black Panther's island, and they're saying it's very scarce to make it.
But Captain America's shield's made out of vibranium.
Yeah, but there's only one of them, and there's a reason there's only one of them.
That was in the 60s.
It was in Age of Ultron. Sorry, in Age of Ultron. You know when they go to to Wakanda.
Yeah.
And they see that guy, and they say, and Ultron says some sort of quote, and then he says, "Oh, that's what Tony Stark used to say to me." So maybe Tony Stark and him have had a conversation about vibranium and getting vibranium.
Because they know about Wakanda in Iron Man 2.
So,
because Nick Fury shows them the map, and that's where all the other heroes are. For the
True,
Avengers.
And then in Avengers: Age of Ultron, they do briefly speak about it a bit more.
Well, obviously then they go to
Wakanda, and that guy as well is like taking stuff from Wakanda, and that's why he's a big like baddie.
Unless it's adamantium.
Oh, baddies.
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
Okay, Obes, have you got anything to say about Iron Man 2?
I didn't like when War Machine and Iron Man were like fighting.
And the way he just beat him as well. It's just like, wow.
And like when War Machine was kind of like just like turned on him sort of thing. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to
hand over that now.
Yeah, like even like he gave you that suit. Like, how dare it was like how dare you use that against me? Like,
Terrence Howard wouldn't have done that.
Innit? Fucking arsehole.
Where did you put it on your list?
10th.
Oh, okay.
Thing for me, as well. Tony Stark's obviously been using these suits for a good chunk of time now, and War Machine has not. He's had brief stints in them. I know he's a military man, but he seems to be able to seriously control this thing really fast.
Is it
really
not
well.
made for him though?
No.
Was War Machine not made for
Because
Captain
he just
America?
took it.
No, because in Iron Man
In
1,
Iron 1.
he just put it on and took
it.
it.
Oh, okay.
No, he doesn't. He says,
He said
I'll use that next time.
In Iron Man 2, he just puts it on and takes it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he's instantly got the ability to do it. Second of all, I know Tony Stark's drunk in this thing, but Tony Stark would have had some kind of contingent plan, like backup plan, or something where he would say to Jarvis, switch off the War Machine suit. Surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
How many times
And
is
then
house going to get destroyed?
I know. And how easy was it for the military to put their own machinery on the suit?
Yeah.
I mean, we must be. I mean, obviously, but we must be in a whole new whole new military game in this era of movies, because they all seem to know how to integrate this machinery into, like, because War Machine, I know he has the two big guns here and they just flip up, but he's got all these other things that they seem to have added on and integrated within the suit as well.
Yeah.
I did like the suitcase though.
Quickly,
That was cool.
it says on Fandom, which is powered by Wikipedia, that a suit that he had in Iron Man 3, the power core, I don't know if this makes a difference, but the power core is vibranium arc reactor. Is a vibranium arc reactor. I don't know if that makes
So what powers it is vibranium, so maybe that's what gives it its
That's probably the
thing in its chest.
Like, what's it called? Not it probably conducts the energy. Yeah, his house gets destroyed too much.
It's not a great film.
It just really is bad.
I don't really
film.
like the fight when I think I might have said this already. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm losing my mind. But the bit where they're fighting all the droids, him and War Machine, I thought it was a bit rubbish.
It is a pretty poor trilogy as trilogies go.
Do you think?
It's okay.
Because it goes from 1 being good,
Legit
really
worse.
good, 2 being near average,
Yeah.
and then 3 being really bad
Yeah.
for
I
me.
can't believe you
That's
think
it.
three-
Whereas
worse than
some
that.
people would say, maybe not me personally, some people say Captain America like the complete opposite.
But yeah,
It's
true.
very as it goes.
True.
Yeah, Captain America's got.
See,
Much
like, because
better.
as things go for me, there's one that has so there's one trilogy that goes from good, medium, bad. Another trilogy that goes from bad, medium. No, it goes from medium, bad, good.
Okay.
For me,
There's only been
Captain-
two.
Captain America
trilogies.
2,
Oh,
Captain
yeah.
America,
Isn't
and
it
then
Captain
for
America
me, the next one that's gonna be a trilogy. It is okay.
So where's
That
Captain
seems-
America 2 from?
So wait, I think I've done this the wrong way round. Well, we've only gone there so far.
Okay.
So I think
we're
I'd
on
actually
to
switch
number-
them two
We're
round.
on to number
We're
11.
now, aren't we?
So number 11 for me is Doctor Strange, which we've covered
Yeah.
in quite a bit. So
Wait, number 11?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
Captain America 2 for me.
Captain America 2. What about you?
Avengers 2.
Avengers 2. So that was low on your list, wasn't it?
Yeah, Avengers 2
We
was
didn't really talk about it. So
Where was Avengers 2 in this? Sorry.
13th.
Okay, cool.
so
yeah.
let's talk about
Let's talk
Avengers
about
2, and then we can talk about Captain
The
America.
thing for me, it wasn't like, again, none of these films are bad.
Mm.
Let's get this straight. None of these films are bad. They're just either just above average or they're bang on average so far, like up to this point for me. And like for Captain America, again, it's another one of those films where the storylines, not Captain America, sorry, Avengers 2. It's another one of those storylines which just isn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that is it. It's just if the storyline was better, it would be a much better film. And like we've also got the points where, for me, I mean, you guys might disagree. Quicksilver dying was pretty woeful. I mean, I know why they did it because they had to create that anger and that team togetherness again, like in Avengers 1. But it just the wrong character died.
Yeah.
They should have killed off. And I like
Hawkeye.
him. Huh?
Hawkeye.
Yeah, I love Jeremy Renner,
Hawkeye, yeah.
but they should have
They
killed
were
off
building
him.
up to that as well.
They should have killed off him
Yeah.
or Black Widow.
That's the thing. I think they did it in the film to kind of like suck you out because obviously they showed you his family and everything.
Yeah.
Like that. So they build up to think, oh, okay, they're gonna kill off this character because he's got the most to lose.
Yeah.
And they just kill off.
But
the
Yeah.
character
that's
doesn't
the
mean
thing, though,
anything.
is that if he had died, and this again goes back to why the issue I had with Yondu dying and the pathos there is, you see Clint's family, and then there would be empathy if he died. Whereas Quicksilver, I mean, he only gets introduced. Is it a post-credit scene in Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
And then you see him like very briefly, him and Wanda.
Because they're bad guys to begin with, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but there's no build up of pathos. So when he dies, I was just like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
it's like you said,
because
there's no
I
empathy.
didn't give a shit when he got.
Fox just loaned them to him.
That's
didn't
it. The only thing that just annoyed me, that my thought was that he is so fast that he could probably dodge every single one of those bullets, and they just were like, nah, he's dead. See you
What
later.
did he die? He just died by was it straight,
Shooting,
straight
yeah,
bullet?
yeah, a few bullets, I think.
Okay.
Or
So he hasn't got like the power of like Flash to like rejuvenate his.
he might do,
Okay, then,
but if he's been shot more than once, maybe
Yeah.
he got hit in a soft spot. I don't know.
Sorry to talk about DC.
But well, no, but it's a good point. Like,
So Age of Ultron was 9th on my list,
Okay.
so it was quite low down.
So
that's still that's substantially higher than I expected though, because like for me, it's just like this whole irrelevant city just being
Yeah.
pulled up from the ground,
I know.
then suddenly dropping.
Yeah.
Then you've got. There was a scene in it. Oh, this is why I needed to rewatch these films. But there was a scene in it where they're all defending this big machine, and then somehow Age of Ultron gets to it and activates it. And it was like, for me, how did they get
That
there?
was a pretty
Yeah.
loose plot
Yeah,
point
like
or
literally,
something.
they're
wasn't
all surrounding it. They're all defending it, and all of a sudden he's still managed to activate it, and you're just like,
Do you know
What?
what? Like, Ultron is a really bad villain.
yeah.
Considering isn't he? Am I right in thinking he's the kind of evil twin of Vision, essentially, because he created out of Jarvis? Is that right, or is it just he's a rogue?
he's kind of
Iron Man
created
suit?
in the mold of Tony Stark.
I'm pretty sure he's created by different people. Like I think he's created
I
by
think
Hank
he-
Prime.
The whole way he just came about was he was just suddenly. Obviously, I know it's artificial intelligence, and
That's the thing. Like,
That's
how
the-
did he become bad?
he just came about suddenly, and he had from what I remember anyway, from when I watched it the other day, he had in his mind something about Tony Stark, saying about like making the world peaceful again or stuff like that, and then it goes through loads of clips of war and all stuff like that. So I think in his mind he's thinking, okay, humans are bad, so I need to eradicate
Yeah.
humans
Because
to make the world peaceful.
he didn't put like any safety net on him. He just kind of
Yeah.
wanted him to be. He just let him loose,
Yeah.
and like he then used the internet and.
Mm. But he was just there, like bang. He was just
Yeah.
like, he arrived and he was
Yeah.
in Ultron. He made himself a suit. And
See this, I didn't mind that because obviously you got to take the reality of this whole thing is that there is no reality and that
Yeah.
anything could become anything. The thing that got me was that they made him so sinister to begin with, like saying about the puppet strings and all this stuff. No, and then he just wasn't sinister.
They made him quite Tony Starky.
Yeah, he was just a robot that just seemed to want to destroy the world for no apparent reason whatsoever.
I think it might have been better if there was like a, like primary villain who thinks, okay, I'm gonna use this artificial intelligence to
Yeah.
do X, Y, Z, and then the artificial intelligence is like, oh, I'm more powerful than you, kills him,
Yeah.
and then he becomes the
Yeah. You
know,
need
rather
you
than
need
Tony
a
Stark.
human figure
yeah.
to appropriate the
They
AI.
kind of tried to do it with Tony Stark, but it didn't really work.
Yeah. And I guess even in like Captain America 3 with that guy played by Daniel Bruhl, I don't know what his character's name was.
Oh, I don't know.
The guy who
Zemo,
was it Zemo?
the guy who's saying all the words.
The
Captain America 3.
yeah
the guy who's saying all the words.
yeah
to
his name's Zemo.
Zemo, yeah,
Okay, so the
Baron
guy
Zemo.
from, the guy from Captain America 1's Zola, I think.
yeah.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
yeah, Zemo.
okay, yeah,
Baron
so
Zemo, yeah.
Zemo was like a human character who's a villain, but he kind of instigates all the
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
They needed that here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very true.
I didn't like. I did like it, but I think why it's a little bit higher up my list is because I just love when they're all together.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the superheroes.
So-
That automatically elevates it for me, and I know that's probably bad to think that.
No,
that's
I think that's good. I
completely
think
fair.
And then-
that's a perfectly valid point. Yeah.
And then you introduce the new characters. I love Vision.
Mm.
I think he's so cool. To have Jarvis become Vision. I don't really like Wanda Maximoff that
she's
much.
just fit.
No.
What?
No, I'm just thinking because I can't remember in Captain America 3 because I know in
Avengers 2.
Avengers 2. Thank you. Her accent is loose and
Hello, my
and
number Wanda.
really bad. And I swear she loses it by Captain America
Hello.
3.
Hi mate, yeah, I'm right.
It's
My name's
really.
It is, but at the same time, I prefer that she's lost it.
So do I, but
Yeah.
she should have just done that in the first
Yeah.
place.
What I don't understand, right, is Black Widow is Russian as well, and
Yeah,
she's,
she's supposed to
got an
be.
American accent.
Yeah, she's supposed to be. Yeah, but another thing I don't like about Avengers 2, I'm not a big fan of the whole Hulk and Black Widow.
love interest.
Love interest. Will they? Won't they? They're not Ross and Rachel. You can't. I don't like it.
I forgot about the whole controversy behind this film.
Gone.
About Black Widow. Was it not in this film that Black Widow was told that find out that Black Widow can't have children?
Yeah, it's
because she was part of that Ballery assassin school.
They sterilised them when they graduated.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of controversy about that. Like, wow.
Yeah.
That's something that they should explore more, because they do explore kind of themes like PTSD and stuff.
It just seems so unnecessary though.
Yeah.
I mean, they like try and make her more relatable to the Hulk, but the Hulk, I'm pretty sure, can still have children.
He said, to be fair, in the film, he says physically you can't have kids.
Okay.
He says it himself. So.
Yeah,
but he doesn't technically know that, I suppose.
Hmm.
But like,
imagine he was having sex and he just turns into Hulk and rips her open.
Oh my god!
Ovina,
Dearing me.
That's what I was thinking when he said that. I was like, oh, okay, that's probably why.
Your mind goes to something.
But I mean, there's good points about this film again. Like, obviously, I don't like the backstory of Black Widow, but at least they told the backstory. You kind of you empathise with Hawkeye a bit more in it because you see his family.
I like Hawkeye.
Did they just do that because they're not going to give them
his wife?
Because they're not going to give them their own film. Do you reckon that's why?
Probably because
who the hell would go to watch a Hawkeye film?
I would not, man. Yeah. He's
like,
terrible.
Maybe if he got a 6-episode web series, you might watch it. But that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
really
Jeremy
like
Renner. I like Jeremy
him.
Renner. He does his own stunts as well. Like he's like almost like the.
He's boring.
I like Black Widow because I like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. I mean, again, her character at times is a bit like meh.
Yeah.
Like she's too OP for a human. Like.
That's true. Super spy, isn't it?
Yeah, but then that's what she's been trained to do, I guess, and that's what they showed in this thing, and then you also see in this film again, like when they come together, that's really good. I like it, and the way you see that Captain America is almost worthy of picking up the hammer. Like you see that little, and you see Thor a bit like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, he gets a bit worried.
Yeah, and then you've got the thing that again for me, I'm not sure I like, and again, I'm not 100% sure if it's an origin story or not. Vision. I like the character of Vision, don't get me wrong, but the fact that he's created from this Infinity Stone, does that then lead, if he removes the Infinity Stone, he is no longer there?
I assume so.
And you're
because
telling me
he was Tony Stark's AI.
Yeah, and now you're telling me that Tony Stark's AI has got its mind of its own, so it's not going to listen to him anymore. Where's that transition come from? Like,
it's just become sentient, like Ultron, I guess.
Okay, I suppose.
Because Jarvis is basically a servant, like Alfred, I guess.
But but then if you watch Agent Carter, he is kind of the servant sidekick character to Tony Stark's dad.
Oh, okay. Tell us a bit about Agent Carter then, because I've never seen it.
Well, Agent Carter revolves obviously around Agent Carter, who's a woman who's in this like bureau kind of thing, but she's not as respected as she should have been, because obviously she was part of the war, but no one really takes her for that. And then she is helping Tony Stark's dad. Howard Stark, yeah, because he's been blamed for something. Like someone's stolen his weapons and he's been blamed, and she's like kind of trying to prove that he didn't do it kind of thing. And it's just basically a story about that, really. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Is there a season 2? I thought they cancelled it.
There's 2 seasons.
There's 2 seasons and then they cancelled it.
Episode.
I actually thought it takes a while to get into, and it is pretty old school. But it's alright. It is okay.
Is this before they formed S.H.I.E.L.D.?
This is back in Captain America time. Yeah.
Okay, so
this is after Captain America has been icicled.
Yeah.
But before, obviously, we find him again.
And is there any other relation to the MCU in it? Or
I think there's quite a few bits and pieces that you pick up on, but as far as I'm aware, it's not too relevant.
Okay.
But obviously, you see Peggy Carter again in Captain America 2 and 3. In 1 and 2.
1,
2 and 3?
2. She's in 2.
2 is an old woman.
Yeah, and then isn't she in 3 as well?
No, she dies in Captain America 3. She's dead in Captain America 3.
Do you not see her?
You see her.
Oh, you see her at her funeral, don't you? Yeah.
So we've talked about. We were just talking about Iron Man 2.
So.
What was your?
I don't know where we're in the list now. You've confused
Iron
me.
Man 2 was 10 for me.
Yeah, but we haven't done.
We were supposed to talk about Avengers 2, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So where's
let's
Avengers?
recap.
Where's Avengers?
Let's recap. So 15 for all of us was Hulk.
Yeah.
14 for me was Thor 2.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 for both of you.
Yeah.
13 for me was Captain America.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Avengers 2.
Cool. 12 for me was Iron Man 2.
12 for me was Thor 2.
Captain
Thor 2.
America.
Captain America. We've talked about all of those. 11 for me was Doctor Strange. What, for you, it was Captain
Avengers
America.
2.
Captain America 2
Cool.
and Avengers 2 for you.
Yeah.
Because we went from there to say about it and then we
Yeah.
discussed it.
Right. So should we talk about Captain America 2 then?
Sure.
Yeah.
What didn't you like about it? Because I put it 7th.
Me too.
So you two liked it
Spot.
quite a bit then.
Yeah. Do you know what? It was the rewatching. I'll let you.
Yeah, maybe I need to rewatch it. I mean, things I did like. I like that it linked with Agent Shield, very
Okay.
briefly.
How?
Oh mate, I don't remember, but I just
Okay.
remember when I watched it, I was like, oh,
In
it's
that-
pretty cool.
well, in that, Hydra is basically part of Shield.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
right.
that's it. Yeah,
Mm.
good thinking, my friend. I think, and this is the problem with the series as well. The tech is becoming too good. Scarlett Johansson puts on a face mask.
Oh
and
yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
another woman.
Yeah.
Now, if I was a supervillain, I would be stealing this technology left, right, and centre to do whatever dirty work I need to do.
But surely, if Shield is now Hydra, essentially, I assume Shield created this technology, so surely Hydra would already have this technology.
Hydra have integrated themselves into Shield, so it wouldn't necessarily mean that they're obviously they're everywhere, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe
That
majority of it is, but yeah,
is corrupt.
with the TV series, you get that as well.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean,
Then you get a few people who.
I think for me, I'm really biased against these films because again, I just don't like Bucky Barnes,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
and I just think, yeah, all right, you're a super soldier. Yeah, you've probably been active since Captain America got icicled back in the day, but you haven't been referenced up to this point, as far as I'm aware. Now you suddenly come on the scene. You're some sick guy who wants to just kill everyone. You got this robotic arm. You're being manipulated left, right, and centre, and I just didn't like it. I don't know, just didn't like it.
I feel like his motivation for what he was doing wasn't explained very well. to
But
me.
he's brainwashed.
I know,
so-
but like, I don't know, it just.
and this is the thing for me. Like, as much as I like Captain America 3, I hate that it's about Bucky Barnes. Like, this character wasn't really anything in the original film. Yeah, okay, it was something that Steve Rogers wanted to strive to be.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think the main reason it's about Bucky Barnes is because that is the closest person to Captain America, and that's the only real reason you can make him vulnerable in that sort of way to tie it into the whole him versus Tony Stark thing.
I mean, I agree with you. But the thing for me, and I will watch these films regardless of who they cast as well.
Oh yeah.
But if Bucky Barnes becomes the next Captain America,
Oh god.
I am going to
I
be
think he is
so
Really?
angry.
There's a point in the film where he has the shield as well, isn't there?
Shit.
I would much rather they went with the storyline that Falcon becomes Captain America.
Me too.
Because
don't
I think
like
he's...
Falcon.
Do you know?
I
I
don't-
really don't like Falcon as a character. He is on par with Hawkeye.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Such a
I mean,
gimp.
I'm not saying he's the greatest character, but in terms of who's justified to be Captain America, it's probably him. Because he has been in some warlike situation, hasn't he? That's why he's got the...
Yeah, he's an army soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got that background. He's worked for the government. He's worked for the Avengers. He's been a goodie for, as far as I'm aware, the whole time he's been in it. So he's definitely justified to be it. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's for another day. That's for when Captain America 4 comes out or wherever it does. But I don't know. It just, for me, I think 1 and 2 are on par. I didn't think it was great. There was points of it which were good again. I like the fact that Nick Fury pretended to be dead, although I kind of saw that coming. I like the fact that it was the target on Nick Fury's back as well.
I like the fact that Nick Fury had more of a part, like,
Yeah.
rather than just being the cameo at the
Yeah.
end of each film.
I mean, they kind of... I'm not sure I liked it or disliked it, but the fact that Scarlet Witch? No, Black Widow was like, saw Nick Fury as her father figure almost in it, and she was really devastated. I was a bit like, okay.
Also, in this film, right, so Age of Ultron, she's kind of flirty with Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, she's flirty with Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, she's flirty with Tony Stark.
She's just a flirty character.
Just choose
She's
the
very-
dude, man.
That's part of her persona.
Ah.
She's perceived to be promiscuous,
She ain't Nelly Furtado.
flirtatious, and all sorts. Go on, sorry.
You also get her and Hawkeye and Avengers as well.
Yeah,
like
and
that
he's
space
married,
stuff,
man.
Yeah.
But should we talk about this now? Or should we wait till we get because we both got number 7? Should we wait till we get to number 7?
I think we'll wait.
Okay.
Because I haven't said too much anyway, so things you say, I might pick up on and be like, yeah,
I
actually.
hope I don't forget anything then. Actually, I want to say now, actually, the reason how Zola gets into S.H.I.E.L.D., that is so dumb. If he's one of the highest ranking people in Hydra, Don't hire him. Don't hire him. I
mean,
think he's going to be a goodie.
Yeah.
Like, you idiot.
I think that's probably one of the things I
Actual
really don't
idiot.
like about it, and
But
the fact that him and
They deserve to have their downfall.
and that's the reason why I feel like Black Widow should have died in that.
Maybe. Actually, I want to ask before we move on. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because in Winter Soldier, S.H.I.E.L.D. is therefore no more. Is it now some like underground thing in Agents
So
of
they're,
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
they're building it back up again.
Oh, okay.
So it was. So they figured it out. They figured out that there was a spy within their ranks, within the team. In fact, I think if you watch it, you could realise who it was, and then they activate the the Hydra kind of thing, and like everyone turns on everyone, and then I can't really remember what happens, but I've got to the part where they've overturned it, and now they're building. So they're building S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Agent Coulson, he's building S.H.I.E.L.D. again with his team. And then you got that bad guy rebuilding Hydra again,
Okay.
or igniting the Hydra heads that because they say once you cut off one, two more will grow,
Yeah.
etc.
Okay.
And then also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, and it's not really spoke about too much in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but in Humans, and they're the growing concern in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. more than.
Are they bad guys?
It's a bit of a mishmash because to begin with, you're like, they just want to be at peace and they recruit people and they look after people, but then you figure out the head honcho of them actually wants them to be the
Be like X-Men.
wants them to be the people, like
Okay, the
anyone who comes in, they just want to kill. They don't want to hear their part in it. They don't want to hear the peace.
And are they from space or?
So basically, I think Inhumans are from space, but there's these things. I can't remember what they're called. And basically, as an example, it's this temple, and there's this thing in the middle. And if you touch it, and you're not got the genome to handle it, you will just turn into stone and die. But if you do, then you will get you'll get some kind of power. And then obviously these people have got these powers. I think when I last left off, and I could be wrong, you find out that this stuff is now inside tablets of some kind, and that a few people around the world are gonna get this ability. But yeah.
And that's going to be a TV show now, isn't it, rather than a film?
What, Humans?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the first 2 episodes are going to be at IMAX.
Yeah.
That coming out this year?
Yeah.
Sweet.
September. I think.
That looks like we're going to IMAX.
Oh yeah. I wonder if our generic cinema pass will allow us to get tickets for that. So we're now a third of the way through because we're on to number 10. My number 10 is Thor.
That's Thor's 8 for me, to be fair. But my number 10's Iron Man 2. We respect that.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Your number 10 is Iron Man 2.
Yeah, we said this already.
Okay, cool. Well, Thor. What did you put Thor?
8th.
Oh, you both had it 8th. We'll talk about that later then.
Oh.
Number 9 for me was Age of Ultron. What about
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Talk about Doctor Strange. You want to talk about Ant-Man now?
Yeah, go on.
Cool.
Well, where have you got Ant-Man first?
5th.
Oh, okay.
I put mine 6th.
Talk about Ant-Man.
Well, this is probably it was near halfway. So it's not that I actually quite like. I actually do really quite like it. Paul Rudd, funny. The film was very comedic, and I quite enjoyed that because obviously you've got in a lot of the films you got the Tony Stark providing the comedic relief and stuff like that. But this film is kind of a few more people rather than just the main character being quite funny.
Yeah, was it Michael Pena's character?
Yeah,
Hilarious.
yeah, that's what, I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's funny.
He's like Anne, and he's after this guy
Yeah.
Anne.
I like how they've kind of got this character who's down in his luck, a bit of a bum, he's not the greatest dad sort of thing, and they kind of turn him into a proper superhero sort of thing.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's funny.
This
it
is
is
it.
funny.
This is
Yeah.
I think that's the key point in this film.
It's funny, but I just think
Ollie put it second.
to be fair, I knew Ollie would love another film because he loves a bit of comedy.
Yeah.
But
It's the
I think
it's the Thomas the Tank Engine bit. It got him.
that was really funny. Maybe not the origin story, but the whole connection with the Wasp and all that stuff. I think was really good. Really again, this is a film that I don't really have any negatives for it, but it's decent. It's probably a 7.
It wasn't one that for you you'd say almost that made you really keen to watch more of it, and you.
Exactly.
But it brought a history behind it, didn't it?
I'd probably watch it again,
Yeah.
but it's not one where if I see it on Sky Movies, I'm like, oh yeah, Ant-Man. It was a decent film. It doesn't get me on my seat, but
It's kind of one of those films, and I'm not sure there is any other films like it in this. Well, probably Doctor Strange as well. It's one of those films that if you were to watch all 15 Marvel films, you could probably exclude from watching.
Yeah.
You don't need it to.
Maybe-
you don't need it.
Maybe for slight context for Captain America 3.
But why?
For slight context.
Oh.
I don't.
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
If
but
you,
yeah, but
when it comes,
then-
you go, who the fuck is this?
But I think personally, I think you can exclude Doctor Strange at the moment because he's not really been a part of it.
That's fair.
You could probably exclude Hulk because, like you said, there's no real origin story to him, and I think you could exclude Ant-Man because he could just be another guy that they've just.
Yeah.
Because Black Panther's got no. He's got a little bit of story in the actual film, but he just suddenly out of nowhere becomes
True.
Black Panther.
True.
So
What I think I liked about Ant-Man so much is it, because a lot of these films are quite formulaic.
Mm.
It's like, you know, a city's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
This was proper scaled back. It was. I mean, I didn't really like the villain too much.
Who
But
played the main villain? I can't remember.
Corey.
it was the guy from
He's in House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Thank you. Oh,
Corey.
God. Yeah.
I think his name's Corey.
And he
Something.
played-
Peter
Peter
something.
Russo.
Thank you. Oh, God. It was pissing me off. Couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
and he plays the yellow jacket.
Yellow Jacket. I mean, that was alright.
Yeah, I mean, as villains go, that's probably one of the better ones so far out of the villains we've had.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Because I like the fact that it wasn't cities being blown up and stuff. It was, you know, takes place on a train track.
It was more,
and-
it was more honed in, wasn't it?
yeah,
It
it
was
was just there was a lot of Edgar Wright in it as well, who was the guy who was originally supposed to be writing and directing it. You know, he's the one who did like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. There's a lot of that sort of comedy.
Oh
in
yeah.
It. I just really liked it. I
Yeah.
just
Art's relationship with the ants.
Yeah,
That-
it was-
that
it
one.
was-
What was that?
I
What's the cat
thought-
called? Like Jeremy or something.
Yeah.
I think what I liked so much about it is because I thought it was gonna be shit.
Mm.
I really did not want to go and see this.
I
Film.
remember us saying we went into it with the mind that it was gonna be rubbish,
Yeah.
and then when we came out, we're like, alright.
Because
Ant-Man is
Actually,
such a lame character
Yeah.
for like lame named character,
Yeah.
and I was like, this film's gonna suck.
Thing for me, compared to DC, the relevant character in DC would be, what's his name? The Atom.
Mm.
As things go, I feel like Marvel probably pulled it off a little bit better
Yeah, probably.
because this. And the only reason it is because you got a funny character compared to a really smart character who acts dumb. And he's a
yeah.
funny character who you know can be dumb, but at the same time,
That's
when he
fair.
wants to be serious,
That's fair.
They cast this really well.
Really?
When
Yeah.
when there's Paul Rudd, I was like, what? Paul
Yeah.
Rudd in a Marvel film
Yeah.
about.
and he
Who
does
goes
really
to
well
them?
in Captain America
He does,
3 as
yeah,
well.
he does.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, just wait till they bring out a Squirrel Girl film.
Schoolgirl, gosh, Jesus, no. But do you know the only thing though? I don't know how well Ant-Man and the Wasp will be. I think they're gonna make it too serious. But then at the same time, the thing for Ant-Man is he's the only person who's got, well, as far as we're aware, who's
Survived.
gone to that place and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that place can relate to Doctor Strange.
That was the first glimpse we had of the cosmic, wasn't it?
Cosmic, yeah. I feel like he can relate to Doctor Strange. He can kind of relate to Guardians of the Galaxy out of world experience kind of thing. And also, you kind of get this glimpse that the mum might still be alive, or the Wasp might still be alive.
Yeah. Thing is, I watched Ant-Man and I really liked it. I feel like it's one of those films probably doesn't need a sequel.
That's fair. Yeah.
They're just gonna give it to it just because, I think.
And I feel like he's probably the character that they could probably kill off and no one would really give a fuck.
Does he have a love interest in it? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, the
Well,
daughter
it's
becomes.
the Wasp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Played by Jessica Biel.
yeah.
Okay, so that was your number.
That was number 9, What did you guys?
Mine was Doctor Strange,
Okay.
Mine was Ultron.
and
So
we
what-
spoke quite in depth about them already.
Yeah. What were your number? You had the same number 8s, is that right?
Mine was 4-2, number 8.
Oh no.
Oh, my number was Thor. First
Cool.
of all.
Well, Thor was my number 10, so let's talk about that then.
Cool.
Where did you put Thor?
I personally put Thor 7th, so it's just
Okay,
one
let's
above.
talk about Thor then.
For me, I really like origin films.
Yeah.
I
Me
really
too.
do, and
Me too.
this is what really hurt me to put Captain America so far down, because as an origin film goes, it wasn't bad, but it just compared to the others, I don't think it was as good. And for me, I thought it was a really good origin film for Thor. Like, you get the idea that this hammer is him, it is his power, and there's some kind of redemption he needs to do, but
Yeah.
he's not sure what. And like you said, you got the comedy of him having his own Asgardian mentality of like smashing
Yeah, when
the
it comes
plates,
down to
where's
it,
his
yeah.
horse, like
I want a horse.
Oh yeah, and like, and then but you see like the trials in like, is it do they say trials and tribulations? Is that the word?
Yeah.
And like of him like trying to get through the mud to get his hammer, and then he's just being pulled away, and then
with Phil Coulson and all them. Right?
yeah, and you kind of get and then you see the glimpse of evil Loki, and it's the only again downfall of most of these films, the villain, not Loki as the villain, but that machine,
the Destroyer.
it was rubbish,
Yeah, really.
and again easily defeated.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the plot for Thor was strong.
I think
yeah.
so. What's his dad's name?
Odin.
Odin. Thank you. I want to call him Obadiah. I was like, that's not right.
Odin's son.
Thor, Odin's son.
Yeah.
Son of Odin. I think I put it so low down.
So will his son be called Thor's son?
I think so.
Cool. Alright, cool.
Why did I put it down so low? I think it was just... I liked it, but yeah, Destroyer was pretty bad. There wasn't too much action. I don't like his sidekicks. I don't really like Chris Hemsworth that much.
You know what? I really like him.
See, I think that will boost it up a little bit for me. I like Chris Hemsworth.
I think so. Yeah.
I think they could have probably lessened Natalie Portman's part in it a little bit, because I don't really think she added too much to it. She just showed a glimpse of love interest. It wasn't the greatest deal of love interest. Selvig again. You just showed three smart people like figuring out who this guy is.
Yeah.
Maybe believing he was Thor, maybe not believing he's Thor. Then all of a sudden he is Thor.
Yeah. Because I thought he was mental at the start.
Yeah. I mean maybe that adds a bit more comedy to it as well. But and they introduced Hawkeye in this film briefly.
But this is the thing, like the fact that you're, like we're saying, you're thinking of things to say that's bad about it, but like just because slowed down doesn't mean it's bad. It's obviously bad in the context of these films.
That's true.
It's,
I mean, no, it really is not a bad film.
Exactly. This is the thing.
I think it's the same relation to what I was saying about
just enjoy
Ant-Man.
that one
It's
I think from about, for us, 4 to about 12, number 4 to 12, they're all just going to be
well, I
there
think
or thereabouts. They're all 7s to 7.5.
I think 9 to 12 for me, or 8 to 12 for me, can all be mixed up, and then for me, 5 to 7 could be mixed up, and then the top 4 are definitely the top 4 for me.
Because now I'm thinking about it, I think maybe Thor should go above Ultron. But yeah,
most thing I like about Thor is just like the relationship between Thor and Loki.
Yeah,
I just like
I
really like Thor. I really enjoy Loki as a regular character and as a villain character.
He's the best villain.
He really is.
Because he...
Do you think that's due to writing or acting?
Both.
Yeah, both.
I think because he's the villain who has the most character development.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the most charisma.
Yeah.
And I think you actually care about him.
I don't think it's necessarily writing either. I think it's just the character of Loki. He is a mischievous character, and I think that's what people can relate to a little bit as well. Is it this film that you see Loki's background, that he's not fully Asgardian?
Yeah,
I think I like that as well.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
Yeah.
Do you understand why?
See, maybe 4 goes up in my rankings personally. Maybe, I mean, it's 7th, so it's banging. It's just above middle, so for me, it's...
I like their world as well. Like Asgard, I like the world. It's kind of like, it's kind of like futuristic. It's kind of medieval at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, well, number 8 for me was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
That was high up for me. So.
Where did you put it?
I don't know. Wait, Chris, where did you put it? 'Cause
5th.
Okay, for me it's 4th. So should we talk about it when we get?
We'll
yeah.
talk about it.
Alright.
So let's talk about Winter Soldier.
We already talked about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 anyway. But
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Winter Soldier then.
Okay,
so
yeah,
you were
7th.
quite low down on your list,
11th.
but it was bang in the middle of ours.
Yeah.
What did you like about it? Why is it bang in the middle?
Wait, what do you mean? What's bang in the middle for you?
Winter Soldier.
No, is that 7th or 8th?
Oh, well, okay. Well,
one?
above middle then.
Oh, okay. So yours is 7th for both of you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Semantics. Anyway, so yeah, I really liked it because obviously I'm a Captain America fan. I loved how at the beginning they just give like a little snippet of, although it's kind of wishy-washy, like him running with Sam Wilson, and that's where he leads to later, like, oh, can we stay at your place, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of wishy-washy, but fair enough. I didn't mind it, the introduction. I like I think the whole storyline of Hydra compromising S.H.I.E.L.D. I think is really good, and quite clever. I just like how Captain America doesn't know who to trust, sort of thing, because you can imagine him. He's quite he's quite a honest character. So like I would imagine he was sort of like a person who would be like give you the benefit of the doubt, so he would trust a lot of people. But obviously when he finds out that Nick Fury dies, inverted commas, and he's like, okay, I'm not sure who I can trust, who I can tell about X, Y, Z. Thought that was really cool. I liked the bit where it's revealed to them when they're in that like army bit, and it's revealed to them like what's been happening over the past 70 years with Hydra and everything.
Yeah.
What else do I like about it?
Do you know what I don't like about it?
Go on.
The USB bit. The
Why?
USB bit in the vending machine.
Why?
Yeah, because anyone could have taken that.
Yeah,
that's
anyone
true.
could have taken that.
That's true.
If I was a janitor and I saw that, I'd be like, why is there a USB in my...
Yeah.
And I'll take it and put it in.
That's true.
And then the fact that Black Widow figured out straight away where it was a bit like,
But she's a super spy.
true, I suppose. And then the fact that, I think at the beginning, he's like, a bit like, oh, yeah, why are you getting all this information when we should be saving people? I like that bit, because it shows a bit more, maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't so clean as it should be, maybe... But that wasn't even Hydra saying to do it. It was Nick Fury, who is... Yeah, and you kind of wanted a bit of backstory to Nick Fury in this film. Like, it made me want to see a Nick Fury film.
You get a little bit about his eye, don't you?
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Sorry, just going to reel off the quick things that I liked about it. So, I like the fact that Bucky Barnes is in it because, again, with Peggy Carter dying, he's really... Because everyone else Steve Rogers knew was dead. So he's really the only person who provides any sort of, vulnerability for the character. So obviously he wants to stop this guy who's trying to kill him, but he's also like, this guy was my best friend, and like he's now evil, so I have to try and do something to stop him, but I can't kill him.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So yeah, I like that dynamic's quite interesting. What else? I don't know. I had a point in my head, but I literally can't remember what it was. But yeah, go on. You say what you.
Well, what I liked, why it's so high up my list, and I think, is there's just so much action.
Yeah.
It is just
Yeah,
boom,
there
boom,
is
boom,
action.
boom, boom, boom. And I think the Russo brothers who directed it, the way they direct the action is really good. Like, their camera movements are slick. Like, because a lot of times when you watch action films, you can kind of look a bit blurry because you have things are happening so frenetically that you don't know what's happening. And I think, obviously, the editing's quick in this, but I think that the shots are a little bit longer, so you can kind of see what's going on more, and then like their camera's a lot more fluid, so you kind of, you kind of, the camera will go down with one character and then turn around and you see another bit of action, and it's just so slick.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier's pretty good villain, I think. I feel like he should be an Avengers villain rather than just a Captain America villain, because I feel like he is that powerful that it would take all of the Avengers to kind of destroy him.
Well, he is eventually that villain, isn't he?
What, Avengers 2.5
Yeah.
/ Captain America 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't like Bucky, but
That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what would have been good? Do you remember in Captain America 2, where I think it's just after they find out that Hydra's been in S.H.I.E.L.D., and then two of them are talking to each other like on like the steps before they get captured. He gets captured by Falcon, and he kind of like embraces him, like to kind of like give him a hug sort of thing, and then he goes like whispers "Hail Hydra."
yeah.
It would have been really good if maybe in a couple of the films before you would have seen a few officials from like S.H.I.E.L.D. just like embracing each other, but not hearing what they say, but just being like,
Yeah.
so you're like, oh, that's what they were doing in the last film.
Wait,
So
this is Captain America 2, isn't it? A little bit I wanted to tell you both. So, I was doing a bit of research,
Okay.
and that's the bit I liked about this film. It references the future, the past, the present of the MCU.
Oh, is this where the...
So I looked up what Marvel characters from Ohio.
okay.
So,
Right, so give us some context. Why are you looking up which Marvel characters from Ohio?
because in Captain America 2, when they interrogate one of the Hydra infiltrators, he says that we know about loads of different people, one of them being Stephen Strange, one of them being...
Bruce Banner.
An
Bruce Banner.
Egyptian
Yeah,
person.
Egyptian, someone from Egypt, who I believe is to be Moon Knight. Not sure who Moon Knight is.
Because they had this technology to predict past, present, and future threats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight, I believe, is the Egyptian character they're talking about. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Could be Apocalypse.
It could be. And then this guy's called...
So
I don't know how to say that name.
they also say, so this one you're on about is the
Ulysses Kane.
Yeah,
the valedictorian
from Ohio. So what was the name?
Ulysses Kane.
Ulysses Kane was born to a couple of tour guides in
Rico.
Point Pleasant, Ohio. He also lived with 15 foster siblings who were difficult cases from all over the state, adopted by his parents to ensure their future. Was friends they were all friends at grad school with a local girl named Amy, the daughter of the sheriff.
What's his superhero name? Who's the other one?
Didn't you say he becomes the Hulk or something?
Alias Predictor. No. See, I thought it was that, but then I looked up a bit more. So he becomes the Predictor. After finishing high school, his name attended Ohio State University. He was a fairly tame student who got along with everybody. He didn't leave much impression either. When the Terrigen Cloud released by Black Bolt swept through the campus, he was exposed to Cloud, underwent terrigenesis, which is also that is what's highly talked about in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the terrigenesis, I think.
So do you feel like he may appear in...
Well, I feel like that might be who they're talking about, because the only other reference I've had to it is the guy who's playing the new Hulk. I can't remember his name. What is his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. But the guy in the new characters who they've made the Hulk, it could also be him. But yeah, I mean,
cool.
It was a solid action film
Really
for
was.
me.
Like, it was kind of like a spy sort of espionage sort of thing. It was really cool.
What was your number 7, Chris?
4. We
4.
just spoke about that. Didn't
What
we?
was your number 6?
Do you know what's my number 8?
We've talked about number 8.
Just
No,
thought so.
we that was yours, wasn't it?
We've spoken about it,
Ah.
right?
What was your number 8, mate?
Did we just speak about it?
Yeah.
We've already spoken about Thor 2.
What was your number 6?
Ant-Man.
What was yours? Because mine was Iron Man 3, so we talked about that quite a bit.
Captain America 1.
Captain America 1. Alright, let's move on to number 5.
Iron Man 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, mine was Ant-Man. So, where's Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on your list? 4.
4.
So we talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 then, because we're kind of at the middle.
Pretty much spoke about
We already
it,
spoke
but
about it, yeah. Good film.
it's a film where you like again. It's like we were talking about the other week about Fast and Furious, but it's one I can get on board with a bit more. That you just kind of take it for what it is. It's a bunch of misfits who have become saviors of the universe, and they.
But why is it so high up your lists?
I couldn't think of, apart from, I can't remember what I said was bad about it, the bit about Rocket and Hondu, and the bit about the CGI for Ego Skeleton. Apart from that, I really enjoyed the rest of them. Like, it made me laugh. I was engaged for pretty much the whole thing. It's one film that I could definitely watch again. I liked the storyline between the family. I liked the story family arcs between Peter and his dad, Gamora and Nebula. I suppose those were the two main ones, innit? So I enjoyed watching them. I liked seeing how it all played out. The fact that they defeated the villain fairly easily was a bit rubbish, but I liked how Yondu sacrificed himself. That was really really good, and I loved the bit at the end with the whole funeral, the fireworks, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really really cool. I just think it's a really 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 good film. I'll give it a solid probably 8.5.
Wow. Jeez.
For me, I think it's again a bit biased because I think they've done so much. Well, they've done so well with the characters in the first film that I just am biased because I really like all the characters. There's not one character that I think, wow, I really hate them, because I really like Yondu. I really like his sidekick guy. I really like Peter Quill. I really like Drax. I really like Nebula. I really like I like them all. Like, they're all really good characters, and although I feel the villain was a bit naff, again, you've got the character building. You've got like Peter and his dad, and like how Peter's a bit like, oh, I love my dad, like, and then you kind of see the twist where he's like, well, hold on, I love my mum, and you've just essentially killed my mum.
That revelation for me probably made the film, I think.
Yeah, because in a lot of films you'd be like, what? Like,
and
stand back, but he was just like straight up like, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah,
bam, bam, bam.
I love that reaction. Honestly, the reaction was so good. I think because it's the sort of thing I would do. I think if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
I love the revelation how, basically, I mean, we kind of knew that obviously his dad had some sort of ulterior motive, but the fact that the only reason he's looking for Peter is so that he can fulfill his destiny, in inverted commas, and he's got millions of children who he's killed already trying to do this sort of thing.
The thing for me was that the villain was bad, like straight up, it was bad. I didn't know Ego the Living Planet was a bad guy. I knew that this was going to be in the film, but I didn't know he was a bad guy. I genuinely thought the Golden People were going to be the bad guys invading this place, and then Peter Quill having the revelation that he has to leave this place because he's a savior of the galaxy and he can't stay with his dad. I'll probably give it 7.5/8. I'm not really sure, only because this whole Celestial business, which was just shut down immediately. Like, it wasn't hard enough to shut it down. But then It's like maybe what I was saying earlier. Maybe he wasn't actually celestial. Maybe he just thought he was a celestial.
I'm curious to why he doesn't have his powers because his dad's now dead.
Now dead. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to
I'm
me
curious
either.
about that.
Yeah.
Because there's no.
Didn't they take it away from him?
No,
when
his
the
dad.
planet got destroyed, his when they put the explosion on his brain, and his brain started exploding, you see his powers kind of go like just fizzle out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He should have impregnated Gamora before that happened. Then she
Well,
would
this
have
is another thing. This is
I like their little to and fro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
did like
I
it.
found out something actually the other
Oh,
day.
go on
Sorry, that Peter Quill named his ship after his childhood love interest, I believe.
What's the ship called?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
That's a useless fact.
So maybe that could come into it at some point.
Maybe.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I did like the film.
I think that's true. I could be lying about that, true.
It was a good comedy film, a lot funnier than the first. I feel like the reason why it was a bit lower down my list was I thought the action was pretty weak, some of the CGI was pretty bad, villain was shit, too sentimental. It tried to take the best bits of the first film and run with that too much. Didn't really introduce much new for us to be like, oh wow, like, you know, Baby Groot obviously. Again, the opening scene with the big worm thing. You spend like 2-3 minutes following Baby Groot just shuffling, and it was funny for the first bit, and in the end I was like, this is really, you are playing on this too much. So yeah, it was number 8 for me, I
Fair
think. Lower down than Winter Soldier, Iron Man 3, Ant-Man.
To be fair, I reckon if we revisited this in a year time, it'd probably be low on my list. But like Ollie said earlier, it's the most fresh in my mind, so that's probably one of the reasons why I've got it so high.
Thing for me is, like I was saying earlier, it's a mix up between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Like they could all rotate between those three for me. Yeah.
I think also the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy was another one of those films that I thought, oh my god, this will be shit, and like there was such a gamble for them, and then it surpassed everybody's expectations. It became this fucking huge, like James Gunn was like some sort of low budget kind of indie director before this, and now he's gone boom, and all even like Chris Pratt and you know, they were well known actors, but they're like mega stars now, and I think there was so much expectation for the follow up, and I don't think it necessarily disappointed. It just didn't capture the essence that the first one did for me. But we're approaching our top 5, so I think let's recap. 15 to 5. We'll do it individually.
Wait,
should we do 10 to 5 because we did 15 to 11.
Wait, we haven't just done our 5th.
Yeah, so we're at 5. So
Oh,
might
right,
as well-
okay, cool, yeah.
So just in case, because we're already at 2 hours 16,
Yeah.
so I reckon people might not remember too much. So
Fair
Obi,
enough.
give us 15 to 5.
Alright, so 15 for me is Hulk, 14th is Iron Man 3, then we've got Doctor Strange, Thor 2, Avengers 2, Iron Man 2, a lot of 2s there, Ant-Man, Thor, Captain America 2, Captain America, Iron Man 1. It's 5th for me.
Okay. So we haven't talked about Ant-Man 1 yet, but cool. We'll do that in a sec. Chris?
Hulk, 15th, and 14th we've got Iron Man 3, 13th we have Avengers 2, 12th we have Captain America, 11th I'm changing it, man. No. 11th is Iron Man 2, 10th is Captain America 2, 9th is Doctor Strange, 8th is Thor 2, 7th is Thor, 6th is Ant-Man, and 5th is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Cool. Mine is 15 Hulk, 14 Thor 2, 13 Captain America, 12 Iron Man 2, 11 Doctor Strange, 10 Thor, 9 Avengers Age of Ultron, 8 Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 7 Captain America Winter Soldier, 6 Iron Man 3, which I think is the biggest difference we've had so far.
Well, also me and Captain America and you guys.
Yeah, but you're an anomaly. And then 5 Ant-Man.
Where's your Captain America?
6th.
6th.
So, again, who do you agree with? I'll be
Me.
interested. Who
Agree
do you
with
agree
me.
with? Not necessarily about Captain America, but our lists are now starting to change a little bit,
Diverge,
be quite diverse.
I feel like our top 4 will be very similar.
So, at this point, tweet us like what are you thinking about so far? Any
are you
huge
outraged?
Who
changes?
do you think's the moron out of us?
Yeah, who do you agree with? Like, I just said who do you agree with, and you coughed Glenn. So, boom. Yes. Tweet us YSC Podcast 17. We're on Instagram, Your Average Critics. Facebook, Your Average Critics. how's it going so far? You've been 2 hours and 18 minutes.
If you're
into
still
this.
with us, then well done. We
You
salute
are a
you.
legend.
You're a champion.
Honestly, the top 4 is probably what you've all been waiting for.
Innit?
I would suggest putting like time codes into the description, but you've got to listen through this shit to deserve the top 4. Tweet us your thoughts on MCU in total. What about Agent Carter? Have you seen it? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then after we've said our number 1, we'll talk a little bit about what we think the future of the MCU is going to be. So
Are we talking about TV?
We can briefly snip over it.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully, website coming soon as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
But we'll see. We'll see.
So get involved with us across all social media platforms. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes. Give
Review
us
us on iTunes.
Yeah, give us a review, 5 stars. And then
Any sort of interactions, welcome.
yeah, please do questions, comments, good or bad. We want to get involved with our listeners. So now number 4 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, cool. That was number 3 for me.
Chris, what's your number 4?
I'm having a domestic in my head again.
Bloody hell.
I mean,
Iron
he's
Man.
written down Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Okay.
Cool.
I had Iron Man at 5.
And what was your number 4?
And number 4 was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about. Let's talk about Iron Man then, because you had it 4, you had it 5.
Mhm.
So, Opes, kick us off.
Yeah.
It's just a great film. Like, kicks off the whole. I think 'cause I watched it twice now. I think when I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, it's okay. But after I watched it the second time, after like I think it was after Age of Ultron. So after we've had a barrel of films, and I was like, this is just such a sick film. Like, I don't like Tony. For me, probably Tony Stark is the lead. I know they say Captain America is, but Tony Stark is the lead of the Avengers.
Yeah.
So like, it was good. Like, you see his origin. I think is probably the most interesting. I would say. Obviously, his parents die when he's young.
Billionaire Playboy
Billionaire
Philanthropist.
Like, he's this guy who's just obsessed. Well, not obsessed, but like this genius who pretty much is. I would say obsessed with making money through any means, like with food war. He doesn't really give a shit about it. And then he's just like dumped into this unthinkable situation where he's being made to make a machine, but like I don't know, like not for. So obviously before when he was making his products, he would make them, then he wouldn't see where it goes beyond that. Like, he makes them, or he designed the tech, and then whatever happens after that. But this one, he's in this, was it like a cave or something, and he's like being made to see like what his creations are leading to.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Repercussions
for his actions, exactly. And like, I just really enjoy his like turnaround. I think the fact that when he comes back and he's like obviously wants to change the way the company do things, and the fact that the rest of his company, the board, like they all think he's going like nuts, and like they want to stop him. And the main villain, Obadiah, is the villain because he wants to one, take over the company, and 2, stop Tony Stark from changing the way the company works, because obviously he wants to just keep making money for making for war. What's the word? War profiteering or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So I think that's the tie for why he's the villain. I think is very strong because people are really motivated by money, basically. Yeah. And I think he's a really strong villain. Probably, well, maybe not really strong, but he's a good villain, I would say.
I mean, such a fucking brilliant start to this MCU.
Yeah.
Because obviously they'd already planned up to like Avengers and probably a bit beyond. So you think if you you got that ambition. I mean, I had it number 3 on my list, and it was pretty close to number 2. Yeah, it's such a strong start to the franchise. If this film had been shit, Avengers wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially after Hulk, and then the first few films didn't make that much money. Like, Hulk made like 250 million off 150 million budget.
But do you think that's because I think there's like the underlying thing that Avengers almost pushed it to another level?
Yeah.
So is it because of that?
That's fair.
But Iron Man 1 created the appetite for these characters, and introduced this kind of, because up until this point Marvel did make films, or Marvel characters appeared in films like X-Men, Blade,
Daredevil,
Punisher, but
Ghost Rider.
they weren't that well received,
Mm.
and B, it was kind of, I guess there were, this brought it into the mainstream, which some diehard people might think is a bad thing, but like if you look at all the superhero, it's changed the way blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just changed blockbusters.
Yeah.
The landscape of blockbusters now are like first, proper post-credit scenes. It just builds anticipation, just builds and builds and builds and builds, and there's like so many Easter eggs for the people that are kind of more diehard fans. It's just the epitome of a great way to start a franchise.
I just want to say quickly, also, I feel like Robert Downey Jr. needs to take a lot of credit for this. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like his charisma and his like gravitas, it always, like any Marvel film that he's in is made better by just him being in it.
Yeah.
Like the way his character is always just like either a nice bit of comedic relief, or his actual character, like the actual Iron Man character is pretty much always like quite pivotal to the story.
Yeah,
Whatever
it's like
film he's in.
his attitude to situations is pretty much spot on in most things.
Yeah.
Thing is, I like about this film is that, yeah, again, like you said, it's the opening to all of it, and then obviously you've got the comedic relief with like the McDonald's bit and all this other stuff. But it's action constantly. Like there is action, and I think like what I really like about it is like I can't see myself ever like creating a suit, but you can like relate to it a little bit more, and the fact that you see him create the suit and you see him, what's the word? You see him play about with the suit and like work it, see what's wrong, see what's right, tinkering with it, yeah. And I think that's what the greatness of it is. It's so simplistic but yet so advanced all at the same time. Like they've used the basics of any film and enhanced it so well. And yeah, I think that's why it's so good, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like you said, RDJ and his quality in it.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of flaws which you can, he's more realistic, like unlike Captain America, who's just a perfect specimen, whereas this he's arrogant, he's a bit of a dick, but also the fact that there's the human characters that actually you really care for. Like I can't think of other. We talked about how we don't really care for Jane Foster or Eric Selvig or even whoever Kat Denning plays in Thor, but whereas like Happy and Pepper Potts, you're like, oh yeah, these are nice characters, and you want to see them in the other films.
Yeah.
And especially in Iron Man 3 when Happy gets blown up, you're like, oh shit, like I hope he survives.
Pepper Potts is one of those characters that for me has just gone from up here and just gone down a slope. I really didn't like. I would like to look character less and less.
Yeah.
Happy, he's always stayed on par up here.
But he's like this smarmy guy. He's like, I think just great way to start.
He's also got a witty comeback as well.
Yeah.
Was Black Widow in this one, or was she in number 2?
She's number 2.
And what was the post-credit scene on this one? There was one, wasn't there? Because I remember you saying there wasn't one, and we watched it, and there was one.
It's got to be Nick Fury.
I think it was
Yeah.
It has to be.
I think as well, like
Is Nick Fury like showing him? Didn't he like take him into S.H.I.E.L.D. and show him some loads of stuff or something?
Must have done, yeah.
I liked in this film as well the technology as well, like the way the guy managed to get round Tony Stark as well, like how he used that zapper thing and made Tony Stark paralysed. I think it's just quality. It was really hard because for me, 2 and 4 can be interchanged. I think
2 and 4, but
between 2 and 4,
2,
Oh,
3,
okay.
and 4, yeah.
2, 3, and 4 can be interchanged for me. I think what number 1 for me is a definite, and I think it's going to take a hell of a lot to ever beat that for me.
I agree.
A hell of a lot.
Wow. Okay, well, actually, I just looked at your list and it was not what I expected.
Okay.
So, my number 4 was Guardians of the Galaxy. You put that number 3?
3, yeah.
And where did you put that?
2.
2.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. Why is it number 2?
Okay. You got 5 misfit characters. It's like I was saying in the second one. You got 5 misfit characters that play well. It's so good there, and the chemistry is unreal. And like the way you see like Rocket Raccoon and Groot just like combine their forces together to be like this unstoppable duo, and then Peter Quill's charisma, and then you got Gamora's like bad attitude along with Drax's bad attitude. It's just like. Wow, like you would never expect these 5 characters to work so well together.
And the casting was really good.
It was.
It must be really, like, credit them, because it must be really hard playing alongside, what's his name, Groot and Rocket, because they're not, I imagine they're not actually there.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, like, reacting to something that's not there. So, like, to be able to...
Do you know what? That reminds me of the bad CGI in the film. when Peter Quill has Groot rested
On his hand, yeah,
and it's
I
so
noticed
far
that.
away from his
I
hand.
noticed
It's
that
like
as well.
he should have like closed his hand a bit more.
I noticed that as well.
But
Is this the first one or the second?
second one, that's the second one. But this one was really good. Like you had several different stories going on, and like as expected, there's 5 different characters, and it all was fine. Like there was
All
no
worked.
point where I
Just
went.
worked, yeah, just
there
worked.
was no point where I went. Oh, their story's not really being told too much. Like obviously, like you don't really hear much about Rocket Raccoon's story. Like you know why he is, but I don't think you really need to know too much about it. I mean, Groot again, very mysterious. You don't really know anything about Groot. And maybe that can be touched upon in another series. I don't know, but like the three human characters, or not human, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You got the story of all of them. Like you got Gamora's link to Thanos, which is really good. You got Drax's link to Thanos, which is really good, and then you got Peter Quill, who's just
Yeah.
us but in space
Yeah.
having a laugh.
It
Like
was just so unexpected.
This thing, I didn't expect it to be good.
No, it was funny. It was actually packed. It was sweet. Like you know when Groot kind of you think he's dead at the end and he sees a little sprout and you're like, I never thought I'd like these characters.
Neither did I. This is the thing. It
The
surprised me.
reason for me it's number 4 is Ronan the Destroyer, whatever the fuck his name is. Fucking one of the worst villains in the MCU to date. I would happily have watched an entire film of them being the anti-heroes where they're, you know, like a Cape Crusade thing, you know, they're like on the run and they're in... The prison bit was great.
Yeah.
I love that prison fight
oh,
scene.
so good.
When they've got John C. Reilly and Peter Serafinowicz characters, the Nova people, like trying to find them, that is what I would want to see. Like an escape...
Who are these Nova people?
The-
Is this planet Nova?
I don't know. I think they're called Nova Prime. I'm sure it's called Nova something. But
Okay.
they're the you know who I mean.
Yeah, I know who you're on about now.
And
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Peter Serafinowicz is like what a-holes or something.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. I'm sure the leader is called Nova Prime. I might be completely
Maybe I
might be
don't know,
completely
I
wrong.
love the bit where Peter Quill does the dance off bit where he's like where to distract him. I thought it was so funny. I didn't expect it.
It was just retro. It was cool. Yeah,
The music was fantastic.
Yeah.
the only reason it's lower down on my list is because of Ronan.
That's fine.
He's just terrible.
Thing for me, I agree with you. Ronan's a terrible character, and that scene where he's putting on his mask and his face paint and stuff was so just unnecessary. I mean, it was grim because obviously they smushed that man's head, but it was unnecessary. But I think it showed that kind of. It was that point of which you saw Thanos, and you saw that Thanos has his henchmen in places, and they're not necessarily doing it for Thanos; they're doing it for themselves. But then, in the long run, you know that Thanos could probably just smush him, and he's just letting other people do it because he's almost lazy.
Yeah.
You get the feeling that he's just like
Because he doesn't need to waste his time.
time, yeah. So I think that's good. And then that guy, I know he's a bad villain, but he kind of tied into Gamora's and Nebula's backstory quite a bit. So
Yeah. For me, strong plot plus action plus comedy equals a great film.
yeah.
And
And you
that's what it is.
And you saw the family bit as well, because obviously the family between them 5.
Yeah.
Then, like you're saying, whoever these Nova people are, and he's saying about his pink wife and all this stuff and that. You saw the family bit at the end, didn't you, where he comes together with them. And also, I like the fact that they explained Peter Quill. There was mystery behind him. It was really sad beginning. You saw his development. You saw he became this guy, and then, yeah, and then you find out why he's like who he is.
I really like Yondu as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yondu.
good side villain, or not even a side villain really. It's just a good mercenary, I guess.
Okay, so Guardians was your number 3.
Yeah.
What's your number 3?
Captain America 3.
Okay.
And this is why I think my 3 are interchangeable, because I think at times, I think at times Iron Man, Iron Man's one of those films I could watch over and over again, and I think I'd never get bored. And Captain America 3, maybe it'd be the same, but again, wait, what are we talking about? Number 3, yeah? I'm talking about Captain America. I think the only downfall for me is that it's so heavy Bucky Barnes orientated, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I don't not get it. And I thought Russo brothers, they've done it spot on. They're so good at what they do. They brought characters together, and they made them all likable in this thing. Bar Bucky Barnes, obviously, because that's pretty hard for me. But they've introduced characters in this, and you're wicked. I mean, obviously I remember after we finished that film, we all had questions on how Black Panther was so speedy and how he wasn't getting hurt by anything. We all found out it's like the vibranium can do all this stuff, so it's like, okay, whatever. And he saw Ant-Man's big secret that he could go large. Then you got the introduction of Spider-Man, which again can refer back to our trailer thing where should this been said in the trailer? Probably shouldn't have been.
No, it should definitely not have
And then
been.
I like Spider-Man's suit in that, like how his
Spider-Man
eyes
in
moved
general
with
was
it.
pretty cool.
Huh?
Spider-Man in general.
Spider-Man,
was
yeah, it was wicked. It was a
Are
solid...
we talking about Captain America 3 now? Are we like...
Oh,
Where
sorry.
did you put it?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just,
I feel like you put it number 2.
I did put it number 2.
So I put it number 1.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I started just
Let's
rambling
talk
about
about it.
I love
Should we
it.
go-
I do think it's a quality film. Like, I love how they reference Star Wars when he's wrapping around Ant-Man as well. I think it's quality, but I just think for me, there was like a few points in it where I was like, this is not how it should be. Like, one of them was when Bucky and Captain America are fighting Iron Man, and they're beating Iron Man, and in fact beat Iron Man. I think maybe I'm wrong to think this, but I think that's wrong.
What?
I feel like Iron Man should have won that.
What?
I feel like Iron Man could have just gone like that and just zapped them both away, and he would have won that fight. But maybe that's just me. That's probably just me.
He should probably deflect that, to be fair.
True, but I don't think he had the shield at that point. I think it was on the floor.
No,
or
he
something.
used the shield.
Oh, they were throwing it towards each other, weren't
Yeah,
they?
He used the shield to
Smash
break
them
into
down.
the... What's it called?
Yeah, I mean, I think Captain America was pretty ruthless in that, and I think maybe it's my opinion that Captain America was slightly wrong. But then, like you said, Captain America thinks Bucky as his family, so. But then haven't
I'm team,
but then haven't these-
Captain America.
But then
Fuck
haven't
that.
these
Fuck that.
people over the next let's say that when was Avengers in 2010 12. So the last 3 years or 4 years they've become a family together and they've worked together side by side, and he's just suddenly gone,
That was my problem with the film.
But then think about it, yeah, because
So he's
sorry, quickly think about so he was his best friend from childhood. So let's say they met when
he ain't seen him for 75
but
years.
he was frozen. So really, it's only been 3-4 years that he hasn't seen him.
Yeah,
Because
but
he's
when
been
he does
frozen.
when he does see him, he's also a villain, and he's like trying to kill him, and he doesn't remember him.
But this
until,
is
like,
still
right at the end.
your best friend of 20, probably,
I'm 100%
probably
with
15
you,
plus
but at
years.
the same time I see what you're saying. Like, you want to make, like, you see
and
someone's
it's
a
the only
villain and
connection you have
and you
back
want
to the world that you knew.
you want to
used
make
know.
him good again, don't you? You want to make him good. But this storyline isn't necessarily making him good again. Well, it is, because obviously you want to stop the people from saying them funky words.
Yeah.
But it's not making him good again. It's like protecting him undevotedly. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that won't not let him protect him.
I know.
He killed Iron Man's parents,
Yeah.
and no one told Iron Man that. I mean, I understand for secrecy because Iron Man got pissed, but no one told him that.
I feel like his loyalty to Bucky, whilst admirable, is also. I'm like, are you also not loyal to the other Avengers who you've saved the world with
Oh, no,
twice?
I disagree.
And you've worked with for long time, and
But not as long as he's been friends with.
But
And they went to war together.
but to protect Bucky against.
Yeah, but he went to war with them in Avengers.
True.
Probably
I know-
a bigger, greater war than he did
I
with
know
Bucky.
I know it was the Winter Soldier that killed Iron Man's parents, and not Bucky.
Yeah.
But to protect Bucky against that, for me, is just his moral code. There is all wrong. Like,
I think you'd feel different if you were in his.
oh
if you were in
mate,
his
no, it's
shoes.
just fuck it.
If you
That
was-
really fucked
Imagine
me
it
up.
was imagine it was your brother, yeah, your brother.
He
and
wouldn't care.
No, imagine it's your brother, and you know for a complete fact that he was brainwashed into killing these people. Would you not protect him?
It was my brother. It's not.
It's basically his brother.
Mate, if I was frozen for 70 years and then Chris turns up and he's like evil, and then I've got.
Yeah, but you don't.
then
Like,
you get-
it's not as if he was in the ice and he knows. Oh shit! Yeah, 70 years has passed. Like he probably just got frozen and woke up like that, and it wasn't even.
But he knew it's been 70 years.
Yeah, but you didn't experience 70 years.
I don't know. I'm Team Iron Man anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm Team Cap.
I feel
Like-
like they had actually. I feel like I was slightly disappointed they didn't kill off Captain America in this. I feel like
I feel
They
You
like
know what? I thought for a second. Sorry, Chris, to interrupt you. This is what I was talking about earlier when like having stakes and everything. I did genuinely think for a second that Captain America was going to kill Iron Man with the
Yeah,
shield.
yeah.
And he went well, bang, and he actually.
this
got
is what I
the-
mean. There was
Yeah.
no like relief. There was no point where you thought, wow, he's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like made me think, yeah, that Captain America's almost becoming a villain.
Yeah.
Like he's got this undevoted love to this guy.
Which he
that-
understood. Sorry,
Yeah.
Captain America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That he's just he would do anything and kill anyone.
Yeah.
When you don't perceive him as that kind of character.
I completely understood where obviously completely understood where Iron Man's coming from. Like, this guy killed your mum and dad. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't really care about his dad, but he killed his
Yeah.
mum. So he was like, yeah, this guy's got to die.
Didn't they kill his mum and dad?
They did, but he doesn't really care about his dad. Him and his dad didn't have a good relationship.
Oh, yes,
He only really cared about his mum.
That's why this film's number one for me. Is the plot was super solid.
Really strong. Even the villain was quite strong.
To be honest,
Villain's
I
good.
didn't spot that thing that you two spot. You spotted it at the beginning, and you might have done as well.
About
though.
what?
But you thought that Bucky Barnes had killed his
Oh
parents.
yeah, I spotted that from.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
so oblivious to it. I was like, why have they shown
Yeah.
this? Like, what the hell?
Like again, Avengers 2.0, 2.5. Sorry. Spider-Man, brilliant.
Spider-Man,
The bit where oh, sorry, no, you go.
Ant-Man, like all of these characters again, like kind of the second wave of characters.
Yeah.
I didn't miss Thor or Hulk for a second.
I thought Thor could have been useful.
Mate,
Nah.
I thought Thor and Hulk. They could have done. Do you know what they could have done? They could have done an end credit scene where Thor and Hulk were fighting, because that would have been funny. Just as just for bants, just had it in there.
Yeah, I just thought it was. I did have issues with some of it, but near on perfect.
Yeah,
and
honestly,
it
fantastic.
beats. Avengers is not my number 2. Beats that purely just for the fact that. So Avengers I love because it brought all the characters together. This I love because it tears them apart. Like, you know, you think, shit, how are they gonna? They all have to pick sides, and it's Avengers against Avengers. It's basically Avengers on steroids. It's like, you know, you sort of rooting for, you know, you might like one character, but he's on the. So I'm Team Iron Man, but you know, you think, oh, I actually like. I can't remember who's on whose team, but I like Ant-Man, but he's on Captain America's team.
I preferred Iron Man's team, I think. I'm trying to think now.
Yeah, he definitely had the stronger team.
Yeah,
He
the better
definitely had
team,
the
yeah.
stronger team.
Again, the consequences of War Machine being crippled by it, that was.
I genuinely thought he was dead.
So did I.
In fact, he should have died.
Yeah, I got something.
That's the thing. They should have. One of the characters should have. been
And then you've got
killed.
the love interest between Vision and Scarlet Witch, which I believe is actually in the comics. So that's interesting.
But no, so like it's number 2 on my list, and because really, I can't think of anything that I didn't like about the film. Obviously, you say you don't like Bucky being like the centre of it. That's fine, and whatever. But like, I thought everything about it was just strong. So like all the characters in it, sick. The fight, the airport scene, sick.
Yeah.
The introduction of Black Panther and him just fighting and being sick. Spider-Man, even though we knew he was coming, still decent. He had some really good lines. The comedy in it was actually really, like the bit where they're in the car and I think Bucky's in the back like, can you move forward? And he's like, no. It's something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Or when they see Iron Man can see Captain America kissing someone, and they're all just like nodding like with a cheeky smile on their faces, which makes me laugh. And the bit in the whilst they're fighting in the airport when Bucky and Falcon get knocked off something, they're laying on the floor, and then Falcon just says, "I hate you so much." It's things like that. Like again,
the comedy relief of it all was so spot on.
Exactly, comedy plus great plot plus
See,
good chemistry.
I preferred the amount of comedy they had in this film compared to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Because I feel like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 they really pushed it.
Okay.
And in this, I think they just did it spot on. Like they got the kid to do the comedy, and I think that's what's more relatable. Can someone tell me, because I cannot remember for the life of me, one, why Black Panther switched sides, or didn't switch sides, but then decided to help Captain America in the end?
Because he saw what the quest for revenge had done to
Zemo, yeah.
And then that's my other point. Is Zemo dead?
No.
Yeah, he shoots himself.
No, he tried to
he
kill himself.
doesn't.
He was like, I'm not going to let you take that way out.
But I thought Black Panther realises it's not Captain America's fault that his father dies, and it's Zemo's fault, and that's why he starts helping.
So basically, Black Panther's helping him. And then the third point is it Iron Man or is it Captain America who rescues the other lot?
What other lot?
Yeah.
I feel like, isn't it Iron Man? Because he goes to... Because Captain
He
America's
says something
already
to
on
them.
that island.
But he says something to them, and this is what I feel. I feel like he goes there to visit them all, says something to them all, then mysteriously all the guards are no longer there or they're knocked out, and then Captain America turns up.
I think right at the end, I'm not sure.
So, I mean, I hope they'll come together again.
But it shows there are little... It shows that, like, there's still, like, repercussions, because it's not, obviously, it's not perfect. There's still, like, you know, division.
So why is Avengers both of your number 1?
Well, hold on. Sorry we haven't done number 2, folks.
Number 2 for me was Captain America.
Oh, what was yours? Avengers.
Avengers, yeah.
Ah.
So both of yours is number 1 is Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Where do I start with
Can
this
I just say
beauty of a
quickly,
film?
sorry, that I actually think that the plotline for Captain America 3 is better than the plotline for Avengers.
So why is Avengers number 1?
Because Avengers was just the culmination of all the phase 1 or whatever of the films. And do you know what? and this is what I was going to say earlier before I stopped myself. The main reason why I have this number one is the shot where they pan round to all the Avengers characters and the music gets proper dramatic and you see all of them in one shot. I was like, fuck me, this is sick. Literally, when I was watching that cinema, I had the fattest grin on my face. Like, I couldn't stop for about 5 minutes. That's the main reason why I have it at number one. I just think, like, them coming, like, it was the first time where everyone had just come together, and like, you know, like, I'm a sucker for the first one. Like, first Iron Man was sick, first Captain America was sick, but yeah, first Avengers, just a great film. Loki, the best villain of anyone in the Marvel universe, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely the smartest. Comedy in it was actually pretty decent. Like, I didn't think it would be that funny, but it
Like the
was good.
shawarma scene.
That is so
I
jokes.
didn't see that until like 3
I
years
told you,
later when
innit?
Chris told me about it. I watched it on YouTube and it was fucking hilarious. Oh, man.
The thing is though, it's so basic. They're literally just sitting
just
there.
eating because they're exhausted.
Yeah.
They're just eating shot. Oh,
And the
man.
shop person just cleaned up in
Hey,
it.
it's so bloody funny. Honestly, I'm just trying to think.
I'm trying to think of what was really bad about it, and I don't think
Don't
there's
think
anything.
there was
There's really not anything.
Like you
about
had
it,
obviously the thing that started the PDST. Is that right?
Yeah,
Um,
PTSD.
then you got Loki, who your fault was no longer on the scene. No, did he? Yeah. He on purpose gets captured, doesn't he, in this film? And you kind of see the like, who's the top man in the Avengers at the moment? It's Iron Man, who's got all the tech and stuff. Then you see the like, little feud between the three of them. You see them build their relationships. You see their untrust towards the Hulk. You see why they're untrusted towards the Hulk. You see Agent Coulson die. I just thought, and then you like the comedy bits, like where the guy's playing like that game on the computer. I can't remember.
Space Invaders.
Space
is it?
Invaders. Like, I just thought it was quality.
It was.
Like, it's spot on, like for me, and and for a film where you thought, oh my god, how they're gonna bring everyone together.
It was
Yeah.
such
They
a
did it.
satisfying
It really
phase one
was.
Yeah.
conclusion.
I could watch that film over and over.
There's only one bit in the film which it still baffles me, yeah, and I genuinely thought this character was gonna have such a bigger scene in it. There's a woman who gets interviewed afterwards, and she says how much she like adores Captain America. I've never seen her again since.
No.
I thought she was gonna have some pivotal.
Yeah,
Seen
I can't. I do remember that scene. I don't know. I don't recognise her being in anything else.
Like,
The only reason this was second for me was just because Civil War is Avengers against Avengers.
Yeah.
But this was such a satisfying.
It
Like
really
I was
was.
just like, oh, this. Is
And
great.
all the characters, like, this is what I think. If you had like Iron Man and someone like Doctor Strange, I feel like they're quite similar characters. But all the characters in Avengers, they're all quite different, so they complement each other, but all really
Yeah.
quite well. I think.
that leads me to my point I was going to ask. So, there was a rumour going about that, because obviously Tony Stark's getting on a bit, that Doctor Strange, they're trying to push him to be the...
No,
Don't
You
want
lead.
it. Don't want
No,
it.
thank you.
I do not
No,
want him
thank
to
you.
be.
I'm not gonna let you finish. No,
No.
thank you.
No, not a chance.
No.
This is the thing. I worried for the future of the MCU when Chris Evans and Robert Downey
Phase
Jr. did.
5 is going to be the turning point of which it's going to become... Because Phase 4 is just introducing these new ones, like Captain Marvel...
Black Panther.
Could one
Black
argue
Panther.
that it's going to get like saturated, oversaturated?
Oh, too much.
Yeah.
If
They
it's
need
not
to get rid
already.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If they kill off Iron Man or Captain America or Hulk, like eventually someone else will take up that mantle, but
In
they
the...
need to retire them for a little bit. And I don't know. I don't think Spider-Man's gonna be very good. I would like their villains to be in the MCU, but apparently he's only gonna be in, after Infinity War, he'll be in Spider-Man: Homecoming 2, and then he'll go back to Sony.
Why is it called Spider-Man Homecoming 2?
Oh, they'll probably change the title.
I mean, for me, like, obviously the upcoming films we've got now are Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and Infinity War Part 1. Or Infinity War, I don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing. So for me, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Captain America's going to die.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a feud between Captain Marvel and Iron Man. I think that Black Panther is going to become the kind of person who is the middleman between them both and is going to kind of almost bring them together.
I would quite like Black Panther to be the leader of the Avengers.
I'm looking forward to the Black Panther film.
I feel, because of like your reaction, I feel like a lot of people giving that reaction, I feel he might.
I can't think of anyone else who would want.
You
I
can't-
don't know what Captain Marvel's going to be like. Maybe she would.
Well, this is it. This is where Civil War Part 2 comes in, where it's from what I've read, it's between Captain Marvel and Iron Man. That's the feud. Thing for me is that you got it's suggested that Spider-Man's a bit overpowered, so I don't know where he's going to revolve around in this universe, and is he going to be too young and naive? Then, if we go on to TV series, which we haven't spoke about in this, and we said we would, like, got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they've got the Inhumans, they've got Ghost Rider, which has been well received by the sounds of it. You've got Agent Carter, which is pre-MC Universe-y kind of related stuff. But then you've got to introduce into this, you've got to introduce Daredevil, you've got to introduce Iron Fist, you've got to introduce Jessica Jones, you've got to introduce Luke Cage into this whole...
Are they going to be in the films?
Well,
No, I don't think they will.
I think
I don't think they should be.
I think in a thing their names were listed. So even if they're just a cameo, because you have the I don't know if you have the Defenders series and then you'll have that film.
I feel like their world is too... I know it's obviously the same world, but I feel it's too different tonally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like a...
It's quite... Because it's 18.
Well,
I wouldn't like a
18
toned down Daredevil.
well, maybe it's at the point where Thanos is killing people or something, and they're the people that get killed,
Maybe.
and then maybe they're brought back somehow. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to soon see. I mean, Cloak and Dagger looks pretty good as well.
Yeah, it looks alright actually.
Be interested to see that.
Blimey, we've gone through a long...
I wasn't overly impressed with the trailer for Cloak and Dagger, to be honest.
Fair enough.
But
I think it could be
I think it looks
interesting.
okay. I'll give it a watch.
It's like yin and yang almost of each other.
yeah, true. Okay, well, Jesus Christ, almost 3 hours.
I know. Should we quickly run through?
Let's run through
Okay.
our 15 to 1.
Alright, shall I go first?
Yeah, are you gonna go? Which way are you gonna go?
I'll go fifth, last first.
Alright, go.
So
This is Obi.
this
So
is for, this is for me.
you can see whether you agree with Obi,
Yeah.
which you probably won't, or me, or
you will. You'll agree with my top 5, I reckon, or top 4.
Well, our top 4 are pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty just in slightly different order. Anyway, Hulk 15, then Iron Man 3, Doctor Strange, Thor 2, Avengers 2, Iron Man 2, Ant-Man, Thor, Captain America 2, Captain America 1, Iron Man 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2 is Captain America Civil War, and number 1 is the first Avengers. So let me know if you agree with me. I would put my Twitter out on here, but you know, so look, my name's long, so there's no point.
See, I feel like I changed mine in the last one, so it might be wrong, but mine goes 15th Hulk, 14th Iron Man 3, 13th Avengers 2, 12th Captain America, 11th Iron Man 2, 10th Captain America 2, 9th Doctor Strange, 8th Thor 2, 7th Thor, 6th Ant-Man, 5th Guardians of the Galaxy 2, 4th Iron Man, 3rd Captain America 3, 2nd Guardians of the Galaxy, and 1st Avengers.
So for me, it's Hulk 15, Thor 2, Captain America, Iron Man 2, Doctor Strange. Number 10 is Thor. 9 is Age of Ultron. 8, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. 7 is Captain America Winter Soldier. 6, Iron Man 3. 5, Ant-Man. Then Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 1, Avengers, and then Civil War at number 1. So, again, who do you agree with? Is it me, Glenn? Is it Chris? Or is it Obi?
Or is it none of us?
It's not going to be Obi.
It could be.
It's going to
Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question before we cut this off?
But no, they need to find out where they're going to tweet us. So, Chris, tell them.
Tweet us at YC Podcast 17.
Obes, what's your Instagram?
Your Average Critics.
And we're on Facebook, iTunes, and SoundCloud under Your Average Critics as well. So comment, share, subscribe, like, all that business.
Please.
Chris, over to you.
I was going to say, out of the TV series you've watched of Marvel, how would you rank them?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
right.
Go on.
Not even seen it.
Why don't you tell everyone what you've seen first?
Well, I've seen all of them apart from Iron Fist. I know Iron Fist.
So you've seen...
Oh, no. Okay, if you're talking about the Netflix ones. Or you're talking
Okay.
about...
No, I haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. away.
I've not seen
Okay,
Agents of
so we're
S.H.I.E.L.D.
just doing this Netflix ones.
I saw one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought it was shit. Not seen Agent Carter. But for me, it will go Iron Fist bottom, even because I know it's going to be crap. Then it'd be Jessica Jones. Then it'd be Luke Cage. Then Daredevil Series 1. Then Daredevil Series 2. Daredevil Series 2. Punisher. Such a good character.
For me, number 1 is Luke Cage. Number 2, Daredevil Season 2. Number 3, Daredevil Season 1. Number 4, Iron Fist. Number 5, Jessica Jones.
Wow.
I really didn't like Jessica Jones at all. Chris?
I say Daredevil Season 2. Luke Cage, Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
spending the last
This is
3 hours
exhausting.
with us.
Please, let us know if you made it through the whole thing.
Yeah, please do. You deserve a fucking prize.
Innit?
Maybe
This
we'll
has
give you
been-
one.
This
Yeah.
has been the lucky episode 13 of the MCU, which we've been teasing since the
Episode one.
first episode. This is like the Avengers.
Yeah.
It actually is.
We'll get back to you in 2021 when the other films will come out.
More like a civil war as well between me and Obi. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Check us all our previous episodes out. We talk about Free Fire, we talk about anime, we talk about Oscars, we talk about everything. Power Rangers.
We're a very diverse
We really are.
film and TV.
And also, we're going to be talking about Nollywood soon. So,
Oh yeah. Oh,
so
God.
definitely check that episode out.
That's good.
Yeah. Follow us on all social
I may
media.
not be here for that episode, guys.
Follow us on all social mediums. Share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell your cat.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Exactly. Thank you so much for listening and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
See you later.
Bye.